right, Sills. I hope everyone had a blessed Easter. The holiest day in our country, especially to people like me. And I don't care what kind of false prophets try to ruin that day. Never happened. You will never ruin that day. It was my grandma's favorite day, my aunt's favorite day. And I just love Easter because it reminds me of family and friends. And I hope you guys had a blessed weekend because I sure did. Thankful too for everything. And thank you guys for picking us each and every day, Monday through Friday, to come here and spend it with us. You know, it's funny. You tune on shows and you're like, what are they talking about? I mean, really? NBA has to be one of the most boring conversations right now on the planet. The one thing you guys have taught me, give the people what they want to talk about. Football, excitement. Who in their right mind would have thought that I have penciled as must-see TV tonight two women in Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark that I'll be watching this thing tonight because of so much drama that's going around. Kim Mulkey, the coach at LSU, a scathing piece in the Washington. This is all great for women's sports. It reminds me so much of my hurricane teams. It really does. What did the LA Times columnists call the LSU women? Dirty debutantes. I don't know what that means. Convicts Catholics. The Miami Hurricane football team that I was on. Not only is their team picture taken from the front, but it's also taken from the side. Like took our team picture in a prison. Rick Riley wrote that for Sports Illustrated. We loved it. Ugh, it was swagger. I'm so pulling for LSU tonight. I love that stuff. Kim Mulkey reminds me of Jimmy Johnson. Oh, I love that. You know what's funny? I can't name you teams that won the national title 30 years ago, but people remember my team. You know why? To this day, we are still the most hated team in the history of American sports. Not college sports. American sports. And I was one of the centerpieces on that team. And that's why many of you have angst with me sometimes. Where did you think I got it from? Here? The soft-ass media? I've been this way for 40 years. It's how I live my life. Hey, I put a bullseye on myself. That's why when I say something, people respond to it. Okay? And that's great. I think Clark gets her revenge tonight. Awesome stuff. It's more entertaining than the men's. And I think the men's college basketball tournament was exciting. Okay? Okay? Look at Dennis said, last week Dan agreed with Reddick getting traded. I never agreed with Reddick getting traded. I said Reddick had to be traded because you got Bryce Huff. That's not what I said. Once again, a stupid-ass starting Monday off with misquotes. Hey, anybody who believes the shit that's written about me on the internet, all you have to do is look at shitbag here, Dennis, with misquoting people. Dude, he was never going to be here. He was never going to be here. All the moves and things that they did, okay? All the things they did, they wanted him out. We're going to get to that in a minute here, okay? Final Four is set. I really loved the UFL. I thought that thing was awesome. Okay? Yeah, I'm rooting for LSU. You see, in this country, we absolutely love the black hat versus the white hat, villains versus the good guys, Trump versus Biden. That's how the American media paints people across from one another. It's great for sports. 11 goes, who watched the UFL? I did. I played in spring football, man. I love opportunities for people. Okay? Sills, your attitude came from your Connecticut upbringing. You wanted to be from New York, Boston, or Philly, not Hartford. Gives you a nasty edge. I don't know. Hey, is that where that came from? I was raised by my grandparents and my aunt. Okay? I was raised like by a pack of wolves. Okay? I was raised by a pack of wolves. I wasn't raised, well, I had the best parents on the planet, in my opinion. My aunt, my grandmother, and my grandfather. So, oh, by the way, let's get into it. The fallout of the Reddick move. Howie! He gets an A. Oh, my God. He looks like the biggest ass bag on the planet now. For getting rid of Reddick. Howie! Holy shit. Is he getting murdered for that Hassan Reddick move? Dude, it's not that you traded Reddick. You know what it is? Hey, you know what it is? Is that he didn't upgrade a player. He downgraded. Bryce Huff is the same dude, but a lesser proven guy. Is that not true? And he got killed over the weekend. And even the flag wavers of the Eagles over at WIP, hey, I'm not really sure that this was a great idea. Now, I don't traditionally do this, but I'm going to have to say something negative about John McMullen. Well, since John calls me a shock jock, let me ask John this question. So John says that obviously the Philadelphia Eagles think that Hassan Reddick is on the downside. Hassan Reddick had a cast on his hand for a month. And he played all the games with a cast on his hand. You don't think that played a factor? And then those dumbass coaches didn't play him correctly. Who would have thought that Hassan Reddick didn't have a great year in the year of chaos in the locker room? That was a year of chaos. The players started the season out with a cast. That's not being a diminished player. He had a cast on his hand. And John calls having a cast. So is Dallas Goedert. Is he a diminished player because he's hurt every year? Well, it's time to move on then. Then it's time to move on. So wait a minute. Is Saquon Barkley, is he a diminished player? And that's why the Giants moved on from him after his knee injury? I mean, use it for everyone if you're going to use it for a narrative. Give me a break, dude. John's way off on this one. That guy doesn't have diminished skills. And then to try to say, obviously, the Eagles think that Bryce Huff is an upgrade. How? How do you think that's an upgrade when he's only done it 1 year and he was a situational player in New York? I mean, once again, I don't mind you moving off of Reddick, but get a better player. They didn't get a better proven player. Holy cow. And he got killed. Rightfully so. Let me just say this to you, man. This guy works at the front desk of the dollar store. No, that's 138. No, that over there is 216. No, that over there is 79 cents. What are those? Well, those are the players I put on my defense. Okay? Can we talk about the current players? No, because they suck. Okay? I will gladly use the JAKIB Press Pass so I can ask Howie what picks Joe Douglas has over his head to sign off on my trade. My follow-up, what did Reddick do to get kicked out of the building? You know what he did? Get this too, Bob. Hassan Reddick, all he did was perform in big games for you, never miss a game, and produce for you, and you fired his ass for a guy who's cheaper. Talk about not doing it right. He hired a guy because he didn't want to spend the money. He didn't want to spend the money on Xavier McKinney. So what did he do? He brought back Gardner Johnson. You think Gardner Johnson is a good player as Xavier McKinney? Absolutely not. Not even remotely close. You think he wanted to go pay the money for Patrick Queen? Absolutely not. So what did he do? He went out and got Devin White, who the Buck, get this, every guy they brought back, every other team fired. C.J. Gardner-Johnson was fired twice. Eagles, Lions. And they bring him back. White, fired by the Bucks. Huff, fired by the Jets. Come on, man. But he did it right. How'd that guy spend his Easter, man? Thinking about all the great offensive things that they're going to do? That football team's a 7-win team, and they have not done anything to help you out on defense. Probably the Sweat deal's the best. Okay? Probably Sweat. Come on, Sills. All free agents are fired. Yeah, but there's a level of free agents that get 8. So wait a minute. Get this. Here's what Slager said. Come on, Sills. All free agents are fired. Well, if I'm going to get $18.8 million from the Steelers for 3 years per year, fire me anytime. You sign a bum on a 1-year deal, prove it to me. Okay? Come on, man. That's how free agency works. Fired and hired. No. Patrick Queen got signed on a 3-year. The guy McKinney got $18 million. You signed bums. We're going to see here, man. Hey, by the way, we're going to get into the topics. The legendary Philly 500 at 3:30. He disagrees with me on some of this. Gary Cobb, our resident NFL from Fox 29 star, will join us at 4:30. The Cowboys, before we get into the topics, the Cowboys are kicking around and kicking the can around that they may trade Dak Prescott to the New England Patriots for the 3rd pick, a 2, a 3, and a 5. It's what I'm hearing. Not saying they're going to do it, but that's why the contract extension has not been put on the table, or contract talks have been anywhere to be seen when it comes to the Cowboys. The Cowboys are entertaining people calling about Dak because you understand when the Cowboys do not have a deal on the table, that is a smoke signal for teams to call that team and say, hey, is Dak available? You're going to send a quarterback into his final year, and at the end of the year, he can just walk away without any compensation. Okay? You understand that. When Dak starts the season and he doesn't sign a contract, he's walking into free agency. And all Dak has to do is say, contract negotiations are over with. And as soon as the season's over, unless the Cowboys trade him before March 14th of next year, Dak's a free agent and the Cowboys get nothing for him. And Dak walks into a $50 million deal. So the Cowboys are looking, not pursuing. I want to make that clear. You know that we're close to the Cowboys. And we know people in the front office, they've been on this program. But the Dallas Cowboys are indeed fielding phone calls on the availability of Dak Prescott. I think I'm comfortable in saying that. Okay? Okay? So, Jerry may be trying to deal Dak, get the third pick for, I'm assuming, Drake May. I'm assuming that. Okay? I doubt they go into the year with Cooper Rush as their starting quarterback. So I wanted to get that out there before we end up getting into our topic. Look at the veteran experiment failed. This is the youth experiment. With lesser players. The guy is only 35 years old. My man dropping bombs on the show. Thank you, Corey. Thank you. Look, if I'm Dallas, if I'm Dallas, I look at this and go like this. Hey, man, I'm not going to pay that guy $60 million. I'm just not. Still, hasn't Reddick been traded like this his whole career? Been treated like this his entire career. Okay? Why is that? Gabe, it was the biggest question mark I had. I'll tell you, Bob, what Clint Hurt thinks of losing Reddick here in a minute. Well, okay? Yes, he has been, Gabe. And when he got to Philly, my number one problem was, okay, why did Arizona move off him? Then you turn around and you go, why did Carolina move off him? And he even played for the guy, if I'm not mistaken, he played for the guy who coached him at Temple in Carolina, and they moved off him. And it just didn't make any sense. And so then, now the Eagles walk away from him. I think it's because he's a very difficult guy to coach. And not because of his personality, but because he can't do a lot of things well. You know who he is? Just like Bryce Huff, who doesn't do a lot of things well. Bryce Huff doesn't do a lot of things well. That's right. He's a one-trick pony. So is Bryce Huff. They're one-trick ponies. They don't tackle well, and they don't cover. But the one thing that Reddick did on a consistent basis was that he got to the quarterback. And that kind of evened everything else out. Little late, but love the intro to the show today. Devin, awesome stuff. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you for being here. Sills, Vontae Davis dead at 35. Damn. Does anyone know what happened? Hey, Howie would like to hire you. Why would you hire a DC who cannot work with 27 sacks in 2 years into his scheme? If you draft the OLB or DE you want, you can move Reddick after the draft. Bob, here's what made sense to me. Why didn't they just go get the guy from Carolina, Brian Burns, and put Reddick on the other side? You could have fixed your defense, and then the Gardner Johnson deal looks even better. Probably your corners are going to have a better year. Why didn't you do that? And I would have lived with Devin White being in the middle. You could have done it with one guy. You could have actually done it. You could have fixed your defense with two dudes. Brian Burns kept Reddick and then go and got McKinney. And the whole defense would look different, in my opinion. Okay? Says his death is unknown. Rest in peace, brother. Do you believe Huff can develop into an all-around pass rusher? KP, he better. The Eagles are projecting him There's no certainty in this. Okay? Who says Howie did not try to get Burns? Well, how could you think that he went and got Burns, senor, when all you had to do was give up a 2 and a 5 for him? It wasn't like they were asking for a king's ransom. A 2 and a 5 and $25 million. This came down to the money. The Eagles didn't want to spend $35 million or $25 million on Brian Burns. It was too expensive. They didn't want to spend $20 million. Get this. They didn't even want to spend $20 million. They didn't even want to spend $19 million on Hassan Reddick. You want to hear something? They never offered him. The Eagles never offered Hassan Reddick a contract. Never offered him. Eagles never offered Hassan Reddick a contract. Do you know this? Why? What did he do that was so wrong that Huff was so exceptional to bring in? Cheaper. Cheaper. He signed a cheaper guy. And to some extent, LJ's right. You know what? Now, and that comment that LJ's making right there is not far from the truth when it comes to a league-wide deal. I don't think a lot of teams want to spend money on defense anymore. Look at what the league is doing rules-wise. They don't want to have all that money spent on that side of the ball. They want all that money spent on the offensive side. That doesn't win you championships. I think a balanced roster wins you titles. That's why Kansas City wins every year. That's why it's so disappointing when you had a roster like 22 when it was balanced and great. I'll make this point to you. That 2022 Philadelphia Eagle roster is probably the best football team that you have ever had in the entire Super Bowl era. And you didn't win it. Hey, undefeated Patriots team. There's been a lot of great football teams that haven't won a championship. One night, one game. You know, it's not a 7-game series. I'll say this to you. If you play the Chiefs 7 times with the 2022 Eagles, I'd take the Eagles 4 games out of 3. Well, maybe not the coaching, because the coaching probably pushes you back the other way. Seals, by 2026, we lose a lot of players. Sweaty, AJ, BG, Dallas, Lane, Slay, Saquon, Jalen, costs more, etc. I hate everything about this Hassan trade. Hey, Sunless, we're going to get into the topics here in a second, okay? Seals, it's business. They went extend Reddick or extend Smitty, go with youth. But again, the problem with so did you really think that the problem was what was more of a problem, Martin? Your defense or your offense last year? Okay. According to Spot Rack, KC spends 27% on defense, and the Eagles spend 33%. See where those numbers are completely misleading? Both corners. No. Snead's gone now. Both corners are on rookie deals. One guy makes money on that defense. The 2 ends are rookies. The defensive tackle next to Chris Jones is a rookie. The linebackers make some money. Who makes money on that defense outside of Chris Jones? Slagger. Is there a double-digit guy making money on that defense? Who? The corners are on rookie deals. The linebacker in the middle? I guarantee you there's not a football player on that Kansas City team making $10 million outside of Chris Jones. And their entire defense is young. There's not a defensive player in Kansas City making over $10 million outside of Jones. No one. So how is that possible? And by the way, they're good and young. You're not good and expensive. Your two corners are $25 million. Reddick was a cancer in the locker room. Really? Here it comes now. Eagle fans trashing Hassan Reddick being a cancer in the locker room because now you have to go after the player and make bullshit up about him because he's not here. So now you trash him out the door. Okay? How pathetic does that look, Henry? What a pathetic Eagle fan. He was a cancer in the locker room. Yeah, sure he was. I'll tell you what that cancer did. He won an NFC championship game for you and not your quarterback. He was dog shit in that game, Jalen Hurts. The guy who was the superstar MVP in that game was Hassan Reddick. Gonna trash the guy. Okay? Gonna trash the guy. Right? Okay? Sure. All right. Here. So there's a couple guys. Okay, here, get this. So you got Bryce Huff making over 10. You've got your two corners making over 10. You got Josh Sweat making over 10. And those players compared to anything that Kansas City has, you're a shit defense compared to them. They're 2 times in a row Super Bowl champions. You're nobody. You're the prom date that the guy takes when he gets jilted by the other chick. Don't act like you're some sort of like prom queen. You're not. You're like the runner-up at the fair. So don't act like Kansas City and you're good on defense. You're like I said, you're like the 4-H chick who finished 7th in a beauty contest. Don't make it sound like you're great. You're not. Isn't it funny? Here, first week of April, you got people talking like your Eagle thing is like great all of a sudden. When you suck completely out loud, you have done nothing to improve yourself. You've done nothing. You've done nothing to improve yourself on defense. Okay? Nothing. Nothing. Yeah, Forte, I'm married to prom queen. I don't settle for 4-H number 7. The chick who was voting on the best pig at the fair. That's not what we do. Right, Xander? Yeah. That's not what we do, kiddo. You got the wrong show for that. There's many shows out there that try to do what we do, but can't. All right. Let's do this. I got to start this out since we're on defense here. Okay? Kelly Green, baby. Okay? Reddick was not bad in the locker room. Hey, Jason, you see that guy, Henry, making lies up that Reddick was a cancer? I won't be surprised if that comes out of – oh, wait. Hey, Jeff. Yeah. Got something for you. Okay? This is BL. Hey, this is BL. I got something for you. What's that, BL? What do you have for me, little Jeffrey? I don't know. It could be any Jeffrey, too, by the way. What do you got, BL? Reddick was a cancer in the locker room. This guy was an asshole. He stunk. Hey, you're right. Reddick's not worth $25 million, and Bryce Huff's not worth 18. He's not worth 18. Same guy, he ain't worth it either. Hey, get this, I'm still in the same position, but the only thing that was different, okay, the only thing that's different is that at least Reddick was good at rushing the passer. We still win 10 games. Hey, we still win 10 games, 11 says. Congratulations. Win 10 games. And then you play one more game than the Giants will this year. Congratulations to you. You'll play one more week than the Titans. You'll play one more week than the Patriots. You'll play one more week than the Cardinals. That's some high expectations, Junior. Yes, sir. You play one more. Hey, Kelly Green, you play one more week than the Gigantes. Per source, Reddick was an asshole to our head coach, to your head coach. Thank God he was an asshole. Makes me know now that he knows what he's at least doing, because the head coach surely doesn't. But if you talk to Big Bill, you'd swear he was Bill Belichick. Got a great win percentage. Great win percentage. Can you believe some of the media people, how they're sitting here dropping to their knees? I mean, Hassan Reddick was a diminishing player because he had a cast on his hand. Still had 11 sacks. And then you didn't know how to use him late in the year, and you're dropping him in coverage. And that's his fault. That's diminishing skills. No, they put him in a position because Patricia didn't know how to use him. If anything, Patricia got exposed. I'm with you, Flexen. It's kind of funny watching these folks. Kind of funny watching these folks. Kevin goes, Bryce Huff was number one on your list. Yeah, if you can put a decent players on the team and keeping a guy who could play the edge, and you get a guy, yeah, he's okay. Reddick was a great football player when you had BG and Josh Sweat performing. When those guys played well, he was good. When those guys did it, he was a liability. You guys completely don't understand anything here. Oh, by the way, before we move on, I want to take this time to thank everyone over at the NovaCare Center for taking my, my advice. And Clint, thank you. I told you to look at Chop Robinson. What'd they do over the weekend? Does anyone know? Does anyone know what they did over the weekend with Chop Robinson? Does anyone know? There you go, Bob. They brought him in for a visit. And I gave Clint Manny's cell phone number. He asked me what I thought of him. I said that he's somebody, I don't think Verse from Florida State's going to be down there at 22. I just don't think he's going to be down there. Now, the quarterbacks may push him down to that area 16, 7. They may. But I think that Verse kid's going between 13 and 15. Okay? I don't know to whoever trades up for him. Could I see the Jets getting him? See, if you get Chop Robinson, the two teams that are also interested in him are the Jets and the Niners. And that's where it makes sense. Because he's a run stopper too. Okay? Ultra Cowboys, Sileo spreading fake news. So do you think it's fake news that Stephen Jones has been on this program 4 times and that I know him well? Hey, the Eagle fans, by the way, won't allow me to break the cowboy helmet out that he sent me because I had my cowboy helmet stolen, and he sent me a new one. You guys don't want me to break out the cowboy helmet, right? I know you don't. So Xander doesn't either because everything goes to haywire when that thing gets brought out, and so I can't bring that cowboy helmet out. So I text that guy all the time on what the boys are doing. Fake news? All I got to do is ask Steven, and I'm not a reporter. Okay? James like, Sills, don't bring the cowboy helmet out. Right? I can. Who cares about that stupid helmet? I love it. Very good. Okay? I love it. Dan Sileo, love your show. Grew up a Kane fan in the 80s and kid in PR. Oh, cool, dude. Thank you very much. Ultra Cowboy. Very cool. Thank you very much. Kane's helmet's more respectable. That one back there? Oh, by the way, someone goes like this to me the other day. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's when we were good, though, dude. Hey, Ultra, that's when we were good, though. Okay, Sills, I think first going into the Colts or Seahawks. I don't think he's going to be down there for them. Okay, what are your thoughts on Jeremiah Trotter Jr.? Hey, Corey, I think he's a third rounder. I don't think he's a first rounder. I don't even think he's a second rounder. As a matter of fact, I'd be okay with this with the Eagles right now. Chop Robinson and then Edrin Cooper in the second. Even the kid from Kentucky, the linebacker, and the kid from NC State, I'm okay with. But I think the first three picks, Xander thinks OT. I don't think he's off that map with that. And if the players on defense aren't there they want, I think they trade down and get an O-lineman. Because there's 14 O-linemen in this draft that could go in the first two rounds that are going to be teams that are going to get a player that's going to contribute to their team this year. This is the best offensive draft for linemen in 15 years. Okay? Agree. Not seeing the first round talent, mostly the name for Trotter, right? I think Chop Robinson and one of them linebackers would be somebody to take. Chop has busy written all over him. Yeah, hey, Stay, excellent take. He reminds me of a smaller version of Aiden Hutchinson. You know that motor that keeps revving and revving and revving and revving? He's an effort guy with talent. I love effort guys with talent. That's kind of who he reminds me of too. Okay, is an effort guy. Now, get this. You put him on the other side. You put him on the other side of Josh Sweat. I still think they need more help at edge. But you put him on the other side. And for me, what I would do, I would put Bryce Huff behind him. Okay? I would put Bryce Huff behind him to help protect him because I think tight ends are going to have a field day on Huff, especially if they play him on first and second down. Okay? Let's see here. Give me Chop. I'm with you, man. I think Chop's got a really good opportunity to make an impact. Let me get into the topics. I got one's a big topic. The other one here won't take long. Let me ask you something about Vic Fangio. For the defense to be a success this year, now that this Hassan Reddick deal has been done, what does Vic have to do to be successful this year? What is success with Vic Fangio taking over the defense? What do you want to see with Fangio in this defense? What do you want to see with Fangio? What do you want to see his impact accomplish? Okay? On this. Better corners and great safety. Don't give up late leads. I'm going to write that down. That's a great one. Don't give up late leads. Top 15 defense. Is that you, Twiz? Top 15. Okay. I'll do one more. I want to see some blitzing. Well, that's not going to happen. More turnovers, Corey. More turnovers. Okay. So with Vic Fangio, is it true that Vontae Davis passed away? That's what folks are saying. Will that DB from the Colts help his miss a year for gambling? Isaiah Rodgers, yet to be seen, Sean. I don't know. He was really good in special teams with Indianapolis, and he showed signs that he is a player. But I don't know, playing him and starting him, what kind of impact he's going to have. I don't know that yet. Okay, I really don't. I think it's really a gamble. If he can play, I think he could be a big piece for our defense. That's right, if he can play. Got a lot of ifs on that. Now, again, I think he showed promise. I'm not dismissing it. I think he's got promise. And what I don't mind saying this about him, I want to see him get more opportunity, which means more game reps. Give him more game reps. Like, play him a ton in the exhibition season. Let's see what he can do. He needs game experience. Tell you what, same with Nakobe. All those guys, they need reps. And they need quality reps, not controlled scrimmage reps. Okay? Fangio needs to get players who don't fit his scheme productive. Can he get more from less? Okay. I'm looking at this more in a bigger picture here. So what if Vic can't fix the defense? What if he can't fix it? Isn't this a direct indictment on Howie? Howie Roseman should be fired from all personnel decisions, except contracts, if Vic Fangio cannot turn this defense around. He should be fired from any business decisions when it comes to drafting or bringing players in. He should have that power stripped from him because he's not good enough on defense to build a stable defense that is with people that are foundation pieces. It's not sustainable what he's doing. And every year you're going through the same conveyor belt of players and decision-making. He does not build a sustainable defense, and he hasn't since he's been in charge of defensive personnel on that side of the ball. If Vic Fangio cannot fix this defense, Howie Roseman should be fired from any decision-making when it comes to defensive personnel. He does not build sustainable defenses. He just doesn't. I mean, how can you sit? I mean, so what's next? It's Fangio's fault? It's Vic Fangio's fault? When does it get to the point where it's the Jimmys and Joes and the dollar store and acquiring of players? He wants Vic Fangio to build a top 15 defense with mid-level signings. That's not sustainable or attainable. Because here, let's do this. Javon Hargrave was a frontline defensive tackle when he got him from the Steelers. Am I right? Gardner Johnson was a gamble. He was a corner in New Orleans. That panned out. Kaiser White, the Chargers, you heard it on this show alone. Tom Telesco didn't want to get rid of the player. He was a good player. He moved off him. You had a guy you developed, and he let him walk out the building because you didn't want to pay him. All of Howie Roseman's decisions on defense, Hassan Reddick, is a money decision, not a production decision. Think about that for a second here. The owner wants all offense. It's higher than Howie. Okay, Khalid. Think of this when it comes to Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick is not on the Eagles and he's no longer on the roster because of one thing, money. Had nothing to do with production. That's not going for a Super Bowl. When you take better players off your team because of money and bring a guy in, and then you use, well, he's younger. He's younger, more experienced, and you paid him more, and you got a guy who's still in the prime of his career. Unlike what John McMullen says, which is not true. Quite frankly, if he didn't have a cast on his hand, Hassan Reddick would have ended the season probably with 15 sacks again. Instead, he gave you 27 over 2 years. That's diminished skills? How many edge rushers in the NFL have 27 sacks in 2 years? How many have, 52 in 4? How many? That's diminished skills? Since when? Since when is that diminished skills? Reddick would have had 15 sacks this year. And get this, John McMullen penalized Hassan Reddick for playing through injury. So what, Hassan shouldn't have played the first 4 weeks? So he doesn't have the tag, he's a diminished player? Then you know what you do? You start adding in, so you make your narrative right, an injured player. Philly D goes, Sills destroyed Reddick. Yeah. But the one thing I always said that he did right was rush the passer. And LJ's right. LJ's right. He's not a $20 million guy. I'm not paying that. But as a pass rusher, he was exceptional. He's exceptional. Would I want him in my defense? Let me tell you this. If I'm the San Francisco 49ers, would I want him on my defense? Absolutely. If I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, would I want him on my defense? Absolutely not. He's not good enough against the run. But what you did, once again, I can't believe you can't hear me. Bryce Huff is the same guy you signed, but cheaper, and you did nothing to upgrade the Reddick position. He's not good against the run. What did you do? You got a guy that's not good against the run. Reddick's not good against the pass. What did you do? You signed a guy who's not good against the pass. You did not upgrade the position. You downgraded the pay. You did nothing to improve the Reddick position, except pay $2 million more for a younger guy who you think is a projection to be a Hassan Reddick. And look, you got people like Ben saying that Huff is elite. Elite players aren't second teamers. Huff was a rotation guy in New York. He wasn't a starter. Sills, if Fangio fails, Julian ERA starts in Philadelphia. The Julian Laurie era starts in Philly. Julian will have an extra second and third and 06 to work with. It's crazy. It is still March. And see, once again, Brian doesn't know what he's talking about because he must have missed exactly what Keith Byers said. You see what he said there? So Brian is under the notion, okay, it is still March. So what do you want to do, Brian? Wait till the 8th game of the season and sign some garbage can and try to fix your problems with a garbage can sign in what? November? Really? That's what Brian wants to do. He wants to sign a guy, week 10, some garbage pail guy, rather than building your championship team now. Shows you what some people know about building a title team. Everything you do right now is going to be indicative of what your team's going to look like. Stop hating. Hating what? How you got killed on the Reddick deal? I won't stop that because you look like punks on the deal. How he got punked. He got punked by Joe Douglas. Punked. Who got punked? Howie. Your golden guy got punked. What's this? John McMullen actually thinks that the Jets got the better end of the deal. Where's he get that from? Reddick started and won an NFC title game. And that guy did it 1 year and didn't start. And he's an upgrade? No way. No way. All respect. All respect. Okay? And who says the Jets are going to give him 25? Hey, you know what the real deal is here? What if the Jets sign him for 19 and don't sign him for 20, but give him a 3-year deal? Hey, you better hope they don't sign him for the same money Huff signed. Because then Joe Douglas did get the better end of it even more so. Because I haven't seen any new contract for Hassan Reddick. Get this. Hassan Reddick don't have a new deal yet. They didn't trade him, and they signed him to a new deal. There ain't no new deal there yet. You know, like you see with Snead. Snead got tagged, right? Kansas City tagged him. 2 days later, Tennessee signed him to a 3-year contract, making him one of the richest players at his position. Reddick gets traded to the Jets. Happy Easter. Hey, Hassan, here's an Easter basket. Here's an Easter basket. Yeah. Yes, sir, baby. So what do you think of the Tua contract? Have they signed it yet? Howie, I pray to God for your sake that Vic turns this thing around. Or Vic will, hey, you'll be looking for another DC. How you doing? Eagles getting verse. It'd be good. I haven't seen that contract yet. I haven't seen the Tua. As a matter of fact, if you think about it, Tua, you're going to spend $55 million on Tagovailoa? Man, really? I don't know. I'd rather have Jared Goff than him. Jared Goff's a better quarterback than him. And he's going to make less. Shit, Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback than Tagovailoa. Can you imagine Kirk Cousins with Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill? That might look good. Okay? I mean, is Tua that good? Are you going to pay Dak and Tua $60 million? You know, I don't know. I don't know. Look at Ben. Nolan Smith would be better than Reddick, Sills. I'm just starting to think now that Ben's somebody from the NovaCare Center. Got to be. It's little Howie's minions. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, I'm sure he will. Let me know when he steps on the field. Does he have a helmet? Does Nolan Smith own a helmet? Okay. Does he have a helmet? I don't believe in Bama quarterbacks. Woo, man, that hurts Xander. Yeah. Right? Bama quarterbacks. God, could it be that Jalen turns out to be the best? Jalen Hurts, baby. Xander's like, I don't either. Isn't it funny? They used to be great back in the day. Richard Todd, Stabler, and Namath. And now those guys are nowhere in that kind of conversation and how good they were. It's crazy how great they were years and years and years ago. Okay? And now they're nowhere near those guys. Jalen is Mia. Same with Tua. Mac Jones blows. They all stink. Wow. That reminds me of Philly, baby. Nolan Smith gets 5 tackles on special teams. Okay. The 31st pick is a special teams demon. A.J. McCarron's got a great looking chick. Good for him. He knows how to pull at least. I hear all them Bama guys know how to pull. Sills, here's what's crazy. If the Jets let Reddick walk and he signs somewhere else, the Jets may get a comp 3 to replace the pick they traded to us. Joe Fleece Douglas. Fleeced them. Yeah. Look at this guy here. Top 5 offense, top 10 defense. That defense, Jay, was the worst in the league. You haven't done anything to improve it. But he thinks they're the best now. Magically, the Eagles have erased all that shit football. Hey, you remember what happened the last 3 months of the season? That wasn't a real thing. That's what the Eagles will have you believe, is that they would erase it. Hey, that didn't happen. You know when Nick shit the bed? And you know when Nick was just absolutely the worst coach in the league? You could make the argument Nick Sirianni was the worst coach in the league the last 3 months. You could make the argument he was the worst coach in the last 3 months of the season. I mean, right? Okay. Look at LJ telling you half the story. We were top 10 defense until week 9. Hey, you know, this was a really great movie. All the way up until the last hour and a half of the movie. Then it just sucked. Hey, I really liked the way this book opened. It was really great. Damn, I couldn't finish the book. This guy likes to tell you half a truth story. See, the thing in the NFL is you can't segment it. Well, we were good here for 4 games. And then go, yeah, what about a 17-game season? We stunk. We stunk. I never talk like that. Well, we're good for 2 games here, and we saw a small sample size. That's not how I do it. Say the same thing with Purdy. You know, I want to see a little bit more from Brock Purdy. I'll think but what I do is I use Brock Purdy against you because Purdy in his time has done more than what your boy has done, and it's not close in wins and numbers. It's not close. Jalen's my guy. Yeah, okay. Brock Purdy will never have that amount of turnovers in his career, ever. Not like that guy did. That guy had 2 years of turnovers that Purdy will never have. That's my guy. That's my guy. Flexen's right. Howie can't draft defense. That's why Vic Fangio doesn't turn this puppy around. Time to go, boys. Sorry. Hey, Howie, can you bring your playbook? And can you come into Julian and mine's office? What do you mean, Julian's office? Yeah, you could pick your shit up out in the hall, but the custodians came in last night and moved your shit out. You're back in the broom closet again. And can you please come into Julian's new office? That's my office. No, we've changed the nameplate already, too. You hear that? That's the guy putting the nameplate on the door. You hear that, Xander? Can you tell that guy to stop that, please? Stop putting the nameplate of Julian. Stop putting the nameplate of Julian Laurie on Howie's desk and on the front door. Can you please do that? Thank you. Bring your playbook. I could just hear Howie at the press conference. Yeah, I've decided to step down on personnel decisions, and Julian Laurie is going to take over now, and I'm going to go on the yacht. with the Yachtsman. Right? Feels like I can hear Howie now at the presser. We moved Reddick because we want to get Huff on the field. Reddick will stunt Huff's development because he knows what development is on defense, right? Oh my God, I can't wait for this season to start. This is going to be absolutely sensational. Okay? Oh my God, I can't wait. Don't forget, Philly 500. I can't wait to hear his take. Fans' perspective on the Hassan Reddick deal. That you improved your defense by getting rid of your best pass rusher. How you doing? Oh, man. The Holy Trinity couldn't save Howie. Oh, no. Damn, dude. You went there? Hey, Crowley. Holy cow, man. You're going to have to drop down and give me 2 Hail Marys on that one. Dog, you're going to have to give me 2 Hail Marys. The Holy Trinity can't save him. Hey, Crowley. You might even have to do an Our Father in that, dude. I don't know, man. Couple Hail Marys and an Our Father on the Holy Trinity one. I don't know, man. You know what? I think you found something I wouldn't even go to. Okay? Hey, Forte, training day is one of my favorites, okay? Lonzo Harris? Oh, kidding me, man? Can you see I'm reading? I'm trying to enjoy this. Go ahead. That's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite characters. Godzilla ain't got shit on Sills. Am I right? Hey, Flexin, Godzilla ain't got shit on Sills. They just extended Reed Blankenship for another year. Tell me that's so. Oh my God. Wait a minute. No, they didn't. Did they really extend Reed Blankenship for another year? Please, God, please tell me that's not true. Okay, please tell. No way. Okay, thank you, M-Chip. Thank you. No, can't. No. No, it's not true. Okay? No, it's not true. This is April Fool's. No way. This can't be true. No way. No way. Hold on here. Xander, this can't be true before I take it. I can't take a timeout with that if that news is true. Holy cow. Reed Blankenship. No way. Extended Reed Blankenship through 2024 in 25 games, 19 starts, 147 tackles. Man, dime store shopping. You re-signed Reed from that shitty defense. You get rid of Reddick and you extend Reed Blankenship. This has to be April Fool's, man. I can't. No way. Hold on. You get rid of Reddick and you extend a guy who's not great and not very good, and you don't get Zay. He's fine at death, but he is expected to be some starter. Yeah. You extend starters. extended a backup 2 years. So it's okay. This is the road to Howie's demise. Holy cow, man. They like shopping. Oh, my God. This ain't even dollar store shit. Dude, here's my take on Blankenship. He's a fine player. He's okay. But he's not a centerpiece guy that you're building your football team around. The reason that Howie Roseman extends Reed Blankenship is because he's cheap. He's been in the system. And they're not going to spend any money at that position. They're going to go into the draft and address safety. They're going to go into the draft and think they're going to fix all their problems in the draft when they're not good at all at drafting defensive football players. This is a train wreck. They have had as bad an offseason, in my opinion, defensively. And it's all been covered over by the Saquon Barkley signing. The Saquon Barkley signing overshadows all these shitty moves on defense. All these shitty moves. I'll explain them to you here, okay? We're going to do that. Please hit the like button. I'm going to come back out. I got to read more of this because this has to be April Fool's. This has to be April Fool's. Don't forget our great friends, March Madness. By the way, tournament has been great. Our friends at JAKIB, looking for some folks and our great viewers and subscribers to sign up with our great partner, Underdog Fantasy. Minimum's $10. All you have to do is put $10 in. They'll match you all the way up until $100. As simple as that throughout the March Madness. Remember, use the promo code WIN. That's WIN, WIN. That's WIN, WIN. Q just reminds me, too, all super chats all go to the top. Next time I see you, I'll tell you my plan. If I were owner of the Eagles, done with subpar ownership and front office meddling, it's pathetic. Q gets the wrench, and he contributes. Thank you so much. Hour number 2 coming up. Ton to hit on. The train wreck continues, baby. It's the Howie train. Howie season. Keep it here, National Football Show.
Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and certainly the easiest when you're watching the NBA. And the NBA playoffs are almost here, and you can win money making picks. What are you waiting for? Sign up on UnderdogFantasy.com and use the promo code WIN. An Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN. Get ready for the NBA and get ready for the NBA playoffs. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Mike Little was a union construction worker who was badly injured when he suffered a horrific fall because of someone's negligence. His life would change forever.
It was just a real downward spiral with everything you do, and you're sitting home by yourself all day. You can't go out because you can't drive, you can't walk well. It was just a horrible situation.
Call Brian Fritz at the Fritz and Beyond Cooley Law Firm at 215-548-2222.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show, our good friend Philly 500, bottom of the hour. I wrote these 9 quarterbacks down that are my favorite quarterbacks to watch in the NFL. They don't have to be the best quarterbacks in the league, but these are guys I enjoy watching play. Yeah, how about this? They don't have to be the best, just guys I enjoy watching. Mahomes 1, Allen. God, I love Josh Allen. What a star. Joe Burrow, 3. I like Purdy, man. Something about the kid. Something about the underdog. 4. I liked what I saw with CJ Stroud. He looks like he's going to be a ton of fun to watch. You know why I love watching Dak at 6? You never know what you're going to get from that box of chocolates. You just don't. 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. He's kind of entertaining to watch. Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if he's going to show up to the game high or not. Throw 7 touchdowns, no interceptions. I don't know. Lamar Jackson. Even Xander said it right after a playoff game. I want one of those. There's something about when he's on, you want one of those. And the guy here would be, who would I take at 9? Jordan Love? I want to see a little more from him, but I like him. That's something about him. Yeah, probably Jordan Love. Those would probably be the 9 quarterbacks that I'd want to watch play. Jordan Love, Lamar, Aaron Rodgers, Dak, CJ Stroud, Brock Purdy, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes. Those would be the guys. Yeah. Probably the guys that I get enjoyment watching play. Justin Herbert would be 10. Yeah. I like that. Justin Herbert would be 10. He would be. Yeah, Justin Herbert 10, Purdy 9, or Jordan Love 9, Lamar 8, Aaron Rodgers 7, Dak 6, Stroud 5, Purdy 4, Burrow 3, Allen 2, and Mahomes 1. Yeah, those would be the 10 guys I enjoy watching play quarterback in the NFL. Just a preference, Just a preference that I would have. Where's Hurts? I don't know. What's he doing in the offseason? Sills looks at Josh Allen and sees Vinny Testaverde. No, I look at Josh Allen and see a guy who's an immensely talented football player that wins a shitload of games. It's funny. He's a turnover machine. He's also a win machine. Well, you think your guy wins more than him? He doesn't. You got the same win percentage. Oh, no! So how's a guy that leads the NFL in turnovers every year has the same win percentage as your guy? Oh, but my guy got to a Super Bowl. So did Rex Grossman. Rex Grossman got to a Super Bowl. Rex Grossman. Bills have no talent on offense outside of Stephon Diggs. Thing's not even close. Absolutely. Yeah. Allen can't beat Hurts, and Hurts can't beat Tommy DeVito. He can't beat Tommy DeVito and Tyrod Taylor. Shit, I think Tyrod Taylor's got a winning record against Hurts. Tyrod Taylor and Danny Dimes. Oh, my God. Too easy. Or the greatness of Drew Lock. You can't beat Drew Lock. Yeah, and Hurts is 0-1 versus Drew Lock. Yeah. 0-1 versus Drew Lock. Anyway. Hey, real quick on the Cowboys here before we get to my topic, before Philly 500 joins us here. So the Cowboys and Zeke Elliott are talking about reuniting. Here's another stupid move. Here's a stupid Howie move. Why would you bring back a relic when you need football players? You would bring back Zeke Elliott, who has dick left in the tank, when you could have had Derrick Henry, and you think that's a decent sign? Or is that an economical sign? He's got nothing left. He was a shell of himself in New England. I mean, it was awful. And you're going to sign a relic. That just makes no sense. Oh, no, it makes complete sense because it's Cowboy sense to bring Ezekiel Elliott back to the Cowboys. I mean, they're going to bring back a relic. Oh, congratulations. Dallas is where they are. There's not, dude, I said that the Eagles are a 7-win team. I'm starting to think that I'm starting to think that the Cowboys are a 5-win team this coming season. Okay? Dallas stays in purgatory. I think so, Twiz. Okay, I think so. I just do. I mean, Cowboys theme song, Reunite, feels so good. Brother, I guess Dallas is going to be terrible. I'm starting to think you're right, man. Dallas is still the best in the NFC East, unfortunately. I don't know about that. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know if I'm going to go on that limb with Washington either. I don't know. Yeah, here's what's going to happen. The Eagles are going to win the NFC East with a 7-10 record. And they're going to host a playoff game and get shellacked. It's my grandpa's favorite word, shellacked. Eagles are the best of the shitty bunch. Congratulations. All right, I'm going to show you something here. So here is the Eagle gambles of the year so far. Here are the biggest gambles that this organization is gambling on. Bringing back Sirianni, it's a gamble. Why? Trading a Reddick, I put him in order. If you think the order should be changed around, let me know. I think the biggest one is Sirianni being back. It's a gamble. Should have just cleaned house instead of halfway cleaned house. Trading Reddick is a gamble. You got rid of your best player. The signing of Barkley, it's a gamble. Guy's always hurt. And he's been common. How about this? Let me see. Shit, Joe Mixon's been better the last 4 years than Barkley. Who else on a shitty team? I don't want to do Henry because he's a Hall of Famer. Barkley is not. Who's been a running back? Josh Jacobs is too good. We've lost 21 players and both coordinators. As a former pro player, how long do you think it takes for this team to gel? It depends if you bring in great veterans. Got to remember something. Think about what you had on that team in 22. Okay? Here's the difference in what you had here season. Here's what you had in 22. You ready? In 22, you had 2 defensive tackles that were veteran guys that were in their 30s. You had BG and you had an experienced Josh Sweat, right? Then what did you do? You went out and got 2 33, 35-year-old backup defensive tackles. You had pros in the building. That shit's going to take a lot. You had Kaiser White, who was on a team and successful when he was in Los Angeles with the Chargers. Edwards was coming into his own. You had guys in the secondary that were, hey, I'll tell you what, that Marcus Epps loss, you guys don't bring him up a lot. That turned out to be a pretty big loss. It turned out to be a loss. But you had all those veteran guys. That wasn't going to take long. Now what you have, you got washed up corners. You got no experience in the secondary at safety and free and strong. Your linebacking core is a joke. And you've got zero depth in your defensive line. And so when you bring in new faces and inexperienced and dime store guys, it's going to take forever. And if your offense is not what it was in 22 when you were time of possession, you got to be a time of possession team in the first half of the season. Because if you're 3 and out, do you know what last year? Hey, let's do this. Guys, did Nick Sirianni's offense look like Chip Kelly's offense in the last 9 games of the year? Did it? Or wore the defense out? Did that look like Chip Kelly's offense? 11 doesn't understand because he doesn't want to. Okay? Didn't that look like Chip Kelly's offense? He says, hell no. You couldn't put 10 points on the board against the Bucs. Okay? I didn't miss the Sills, you missed the super. I did not. We don't miss super chats. No, I did not. Okay? You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, okay. So you think your offense was better than Chip Kelly's the last 9 games of the year? I asked you about last year. What makes your offense with Nick? Okay. Well, 11, wasn't Chip Kelly stagnant and predictable? And hurt the defense? And ran him into the mash tent? Didn't he? Duluth? Okay, so you're saying your offense last year from week 10 on was better than Chip's when you lost all those ball games. Wow. What happened to Reddick down the stretch? He's in decline. Really? Well, when you drop a guy in coverage, that's not a good cover guy. You don't know what you're doing. I don't miss super chats anymore. No, it actually looked worse than Chip's offense. Damn, Brian is the only one that will admit it. Chip Kelly was a better coach than Nick Sirianni in the last 9 games of the season of last year, and you guys can't acknowledge it because you don't want to. And yet you got people even on my network talking to me about Sirianni being some sort of guru coach. And Chip Kelly was better. Offensive guru. Chip Kelly wanted to get rid. Well, Chip Kelly's problem, once again, was personnel decisions. Let me go here. Let me finish. The signing of Kellen Moore is a gamble. So he's going to turn this guy into some sort of prolific passer? No way. 304. The last 7 games of the season, Philly was a bottom 5 team in the NFL. They lost to bad teams and really didn't improve much. Doing great, Sills. Thank you, 304. Thank you. Okay. Big Seals, you think Washington can win the division this year, moving forward with Jaden Daniels? You're going to have to put a lot of people around him. I think Josh Harris is doing a hell of a job up there in Washington. I think they're doing a really good job of trying to change the culture. Word it is, it's fun to go to work in Washington right now with Josh Harris and that new ownership group, and people are enjoying themselves. Doug Williams tells me it's one of the funnest places he's worked in a long time. Everyone is enjoying going to work. There's no more animosity in the locker rooms. Trying to change a culture. It's pretty cool to hear that when they haven't had that probably since Bobby Beathard and Joe Gibbs. Chip Kelly knows what to do with a dual threat quarterback. That's true. That's true. Death row? Yeah, I would say he does. Sean, thank you, my friend. That's exactly what we do. CJ, so who wins the division? I'm not ready to go there yet. I want to see what happens after June 1. Okay? If Sills covered the Bills, he would be crapping on Allen. Why would I do that? Why would I crap on a quarterback that I like? You again, having a quarterback like that I like helps my program. Telling you who Jalen Hurts is also helps my program. Being truthful helps my program. Not picking an enemy like Skip Bayless does. I don't pick people to hate on. That's not how I do my show. Just because you like him does not mean he does not underachieve. Allen needs to produce. Of course he does. I've said that all the time. This guy's got to win a Super Bowl, man, to validate that talent. He doesn't validate that talent. He doesn't validate his salary. Same thing with Joe Burrow. All of them have to validate it. No different than any other guy outside of the guy in Kansas City. As a matter of fact, there's very few guys that have validated their careers. The ones that have won Super Bowls have validated their careers. So the greatness, there was a super signing today. I mean, it was an over-the-top signing. Listen here, man. You talk about collecting superstars. That's what Howie Roseman does when he signs a one-year contract extension to that to that guy, Reed Blankenship. And then he lets Hassan Reddick roll out the building. So wait a minute. You get rid of your best pass rusher and your best defensive guy, and you sign Reed to a one-year deal. That being said, the legend is in the building. He's like Elvin.
Yeah. What's happening, Big Seals?
Hey, congratulations, man. You got Reed Blankenship on a one-year contract extension.
Hey, we need him. We need him. You know, he's an impact player. You know, if you don't miss tackles here or there, then who's gonna miss them? Listen, Howie Roseman just made one of the great trades of all time.
Oh, my God!
What other GM would think about 2026 draft picks? All right? No, I'm April Fools. April Fools. April Fools. I don't understand this trade. I don't get it. Everything was going great. Everything was on track. And it was like they trade Hassan Reddick. And I'm still to this point. All I see is red. I can't see anything else but red. I'm so angry about this trade. I don't understand it, Sos. I don't understand it.
How about this, Philly? Think here. Let's try to get through the weeds on this for a second. So, like you said, here's something that someone brought up even earlier. Let's just say the Jets don't give him a contract extension and don't pay him, and they pay him the $15 million. He goes out, say he gets 13 sacks this year. Either the Jets decide to sign him, or he goes somewhere else. They pick up a third-round compensation in free agency and basically cover the second round if he turns out to be the impact player we all think he's going to be. They almost cover the deal by having him and not even extending him He's not going to. What if they sign him to a contract, a 2-year contract at $19 million? You mean to tell me how he didn't? I'm hearing they didn't even offer him.
I can't understand this deal, okay? You're talking about double-digit sacks, right? And they get a third-round pick. You know what's going to happen. He's going to get double-digit sacks, and he's going to play like 65% of the snaps. So we don't get that extra pick because he's got to play 67.5% of the snaps in order to get, along with the double-digit sacks, in order to get a second-round pick in 2026. Not this year, not next year. We have to wait till 2026. This is just a deal I'm scratching my head about because I don't understand why you needed to make this. You're not in salary cap hell. You had him already on the books. He's under contract. And at the very least, I'm not arguing that they should sign him to an extension. I'm not. But he's in the last year of his contract. He should have played it out. And it should have helped you and provide insurance in case Bryce Huff isn't who they think he is or Nolan Smith doesn't develop. You have no insurance now. And you just let this guy go for nothing. I don't understand this.
Here's what I don't like about it. The guy did everything you asked him to do and produced. And I disagree with John McMullen, who was on with Xander on Friday and said that he's a diminished player. He played the first 4 games of the year with a cast. Right. Then the coaches didn't know how to use him at the end of the year.
Right.
That's not a diminished player. That's an organizational dysfunction on how you evaluated the player with an injury. And then you didn't know how to utilize the player when you made the move from Desai to Patricia. That's not diminished skill set. That's not understanding who you have. They went through this when they initially got him. Now, look, I'm under the guise of this. Okay, he is a liability in the run and also in the pass. He's an exceptional pass rusher. My problem with Huff is you basically brought Huff in to kind of cover who Hassan Reddick is, but you didn't improve the position. You needed a rundown guy to go on the other side of Josh Sweat. Where on that defense? And we're hoping that Gardner Johnson comes back off his injury and he's that player. Where do you see really the improvement?
Because of the getting rid of Hassan Reddick, I think you've taken any improvement and you've pretty much thrown it out the window. Because I thought if you had kept Hassan Reddick, I thought you made a nice improvement with the third down pass rusher. But now that you let Reddick go, I don't think you're necessarily better at the spot. I mean, listen, as we sit here today, right now, it's not a good trade for the Eagles. Now, if Bryce Huff goes out and has 15 sacks, I'll go, all right, well, it looked like it worked out. But right now, as we sit, unless something else happens, it just doesn't make sense to me, especially when you're talking about a team that looked like they were all in and trying to win this year. I don't see how this is going all in. I don't. And I don't see how a third-round pick in 2026 is more valuable than having the guy play next year. I just don't.
You think they're putting too much emphasis on the upcoming draft to try to fix some of their problems than having gotten players in here that could help them immediately?
No, I don't think. I think they're going to do what they're going to do in the draft, and it wasn't going to matter whether Reddick's on that team or not. I think they're going to take who they're going to take. They like who they like, and it's not going to change anything. I don't know. Like, to me, there has to be something more that we don't know, that we don't understand, because it just doesn't make sense. He was under contract. See, that's the thing that bothers me, is he's under contract. You have $33 million in cap space. You absolutely lose nothing. And here's a guy. Now John McMullen could say he had diminished skills at the end of the year. Then every single one of those players on both sides of the ball did, because they all stunk the last 6 games. It wasn't just Reddick. It was all of them. But, it's funny that Reddick has, 11.5 sacks, and they're saying, "Oh, what a stinky year." But then Bryce Huff has 10 sacks. What a great year. Still less sacks than Hassan Reddick.
And a non-starter.
I don't know. Yeah. And they say the weaknesses of Huff is he doesn't play the run well and he can't cover. So it sounds like you're just getting Hassan Reddick who's younger and maybe at the start of his breakout year. I'm not saying the kid's not going to be good, or I don't like him, or I don't like Nolan Smith. I'm saying you had those guys already and you had Reddick. So why just not keep Reddick for 1 year and have a great rotation? I don't get it.
And Senior's right. That draft's 3 drafts away.
3. Yeah.
I mean, that's like 10 years from now. It's 3 years away.
In Jerry Jones' years, it is. Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna make this comment to you here about Vic Fangio. Do you agree? If Vic Fangio comes in and he can't fix that defense and turn that defense into a top 15 defense, it's time to fire Howie Roseman as a personnel guy when it comes to adding players, especially on the defensive side, because he does not build sustainable defenses and he doesn't build long-term defenses, man. You're constantly in this conveyor belt of conversation on who's going to play edge, who's going to play safety, who's going to play linebacker. You would think after a while, Philly 500, you've been covering this team for years. After a while, I mean, you and me are talking about the same shit every offseason, every year. He doesn't build it. And to me, it's not sustainable on building championship quality teams. They overload their money on offense, and then what they do is they try to piecemeal their defense together. I don't know, man. I don't think that's championship football, and I think it's one of the reasons why you've only won 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, I mean, it seems like we always have the same recurring problems on defense. No linebackers, no safeties. The corners are always older and they're not as good. The one thing that we did seem to have a decent pass rush. We always seem to have a decent line. That's why it's so surprising to me that they would move on from Reddick in the way in which they do. This doesn't feel like a Howie Roseman trade to me. Like this doesn't.
You think Fangio had something to do with this, wanting him out?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, maybe Fangio just wanted him out. Maybe there's stuff behind the scenes that we don't know. I honestly don't know. It doesn't make sense. I almost feel like that something else has to happen, like another shoe has to drop so that we'll all go, okay, well, now we see what they're doing, because I really don't understand it. And if you go back and you look at Howie Roseman's strengths, he's always done a good job with trades. He's always done a good one. And this one, he just, the way it looks today, I think he's totally missed the boat. I do. I don't think this was a good trade. So it's baffling to me.
Well, here are your 34 linebackers: Nolan Smith, Devin White, Nakobe Dean, and Bryce Huff. How do you feel going into the start of the football season in September with those 4 guys? Because those are your 4 dudes that you have earmarked right now as your starting 4 linebackers in a 34 defense, because he plays the 34.
I think you need. I think you're missing a pass rusher. Like, I think you've literally created.
You signed one for
hole.
$18 million.
Yeah, but he was supposed to be your 3rd pass rusher. Reddick was still your closer. Reddick was still your number 1. Now, by taking Reddick and basically moving on from him, to me, you now have the same issue you had going in free agency. I think you need another pass rusher. I think you need another outside linebacker.
What about Nolan Smith?
Yet to be determined. I'm not gonna. I gotta see more. I have to see more from him to sit there and say he's a bust or to say he's good. I think he's got some talent. I think he's got some speed. I hope he can get a little bigger, a little stronger. But I hope he can play. He's got to play. See, we might feel totally different about this if we got to see him play more last year. But as of right now, I mean, I'm hoping he's going to be that guy. But I don't know. Just yet to
How
be
about
determined.
this? Why is it so that the Eagles have no problem opening the checkbook for the offense and have an extreme problem opening it up for the defense? Do you think that's the owner and that's the owner's MO there? Because again, he wants flashy. The Eagles, I got to tell you, Philly 500, this is the first time in the last 2 years that the Eagles have been a flashy team with those 1,000-yard receivers. Prior to that, it's tight end play great defense, run the ball, situational play calling, third down efficiency. That's how the Eagles traditionally won football games. You got into NFC title games with that philosophy. It just seems that they want to change away from that so bad and get into this big play. How many times did you hear Nick last year saying, we want the big play? Well, since when has the Philadelphia Eagles been a big play offense? The last 2 years. This has been, I think this is by design.
I think part of it is. I mean, but they've also always paid certain positions on defense. Like they'll always pay a corner. They'll always pay a pass rusher, especially a defensive end. They always used to pay those guys. So to me, it's always been the linebacker that they get real cheap on, the safety they get real cheap on, and positions like that. But like you always had a decent pass rush, a decent defensive line. They would always have no problem going out in free agency or making a trade to get a Darius Slay, a Asante Samuel. They would be willing to do those and take chances defensively over there. But for some reason, when it came to Hassan Reddick, he just had to go. And that's what I don't understand.
What did he do that was so detrimental that you brought Brandon Graham back and you moved your best defensive player?
Your best
seems like PR moves.
See, I don't know what's going on. And now you're getting people say, well, Reddick wanted out. Reddick was going to hold out. Reddick did this. Reddick was bad.
I haven't heard any of that.
See, I never heard any of that until the trade. Now everybody's saying it after the fact. But before that, Reddick was great. So I don't believe any of it, but I feel at the same time there's got to be something going on, because either Reddick went to them and said, I'm not playing for you unless I get a new contract, which he didn't sign a contract with the Jets, by the way, or something, because I don't understand it. The guy literally was under contract one more year. Yes, he won an extension, but you know what? If he goes and plays for the Jets without a contract extension, he would have played for us. And you could have restructured his deal and gave him more money, not add any more years, and made him happy for 1 year and played him. I think we'd feel better about this if we're talking like, he got a third-round pick in this year's draft, or even in 2025. But when you go 2026, that just sounds like they were going to get rid of him at all costs.
It would make me feel better if the player said, I want out.
Right. Yeah, me too.
If he went like this, I want out. They don't want to give me my money. They don't want to pay me for what I've brought to the team, and they don't want to pay me for my results. I would be like this. Well, he's got a leg to stand on.
Right.
And like you said, look at what the kid Snead did. The kid Snead gets traded to the Titans. 2 days later, they sign him to a multi-year contract and make him the highest paid corner in the league. You're not seeing that with Reddick here. And if this thing goes through the week, Philly 500, and they don't sign him, there's no way in hell he wanted out. Because he's going to New York on a prove-it deal to play this year out to get into the market again.
Yeah.
I really look at Philly has looked at him since get this. How do you look at a guy who's been one of the most productive pass rushers that you've had since Trent Cole, and how you look at him and go, we can live without him. And yet you bring a guy in just like him, and you've got so many question marks on your defense that now you even make a bigger question mark. I'm just not understanding how this whole thing came about. I mean, something must have happened.
That's what I think. Yeah, because it just
don't you think something happened in the locker room or something happened?
I think something had happened, because for Howie Roseman to trade a 2026 pick and not even help your team this year. To me, that just sounds like we're going to move on from this guy no matter what. And we're going to try to get something for him because we do think he's valuable and we recognize that. But he's got to go. He cannot be here. And it's not a money thing because they had $33 million under the cap and he was already included in that salary cap. So it wasn't that. I don't know what it is. I mean, maybe Howie Roseman's get ready to pull something out of his ass. Maybe we're going to have Eagles trade for Jaguars Josh Allen or something like that. I don't know. But to me, as we stand right now, for everything you've done in 2024, Barkley, CJ Gardner-Johnson, whether you like it or not, this was a team that was looking like they're going all in. This move is a counter move to all of that. And I don't get it.
Kellen Moore being signed. Is there a gamble here that Kellen Moore could be trying to change him too much?
Change who?
Hurts.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not. I don't think so. I think Kellen Moore. I think he gets a lot of unfair blame and criticism because the Dallas Cowboys are chokers, and so he's had to deal with that. He only had 1 year with the Chargers. Their head coach was. I think he's a good coach, and I assume he's going to use Hurts to the best of his ability. I do.
What is that?
I think we'll be fine. I think what you saw 2 years ago. I think that would, but a better passer. I think you could get a lot of what you got from Hurts. Plus, I think he could become a better passer than he was. I think he can improve on it. So I think Hurts could be a 30 touchdown guy with 8 to 10 rushing touchdowns a year. I think that's very possible.
How many years will it be before Julian Lurie is going to be the general manager of the Philadelphia Eagles?
Oh, he'll be the owner. He'll be the outright owner for the GM. Howie Roseman ain't going nowhere. Let me tell you, Howie Roseman has something on that. He ain't going nowhere. I don't.
If that team fails this year,
yep,
he still comes back, and they'll do the same game on the coaches.
Oh yeah.
How many years can you keep doing that?
They're going to keep doing it. Listen, every time you look at the Eagles and you say, all right, Lurie is finally going to hold Howie accountable. He doesn't. He says, well, I don't really blame Howie for that. I don't really blame Howie. I don't believe he will hold him accountable. I think Howie Roseman, I think he might as well be a part-time owner because I don't think he's going anywhere. No matter what happens this year, I think he's back.
So you're saying Howie Roseman has a job on the yacht as the coxswain. It's not coxman, I found out. It's coxswain. He's the guy that goes like this. Row, row, row. My aunt looked it up. It's not coxman. So I have to apologize.
Listen, every time Lurie even suggests it, he just holds up those photographs from when they were in Mexico. Hey, Jeffrey, remember this? Remember this?
Oh, hey, I got these Cabo posts. I got these Cabo pictures in my phone.
Yeah.
Hey, you and that kid, man. You know what I mean? I know he was delivering drinks, but hey.
Listen. You had an owner, all right? And I like Jeffrey Lurie. I'm not trying to speak negative on him, but you had an owner who fired a Super Bowl winning coach who then went to what? 2-3 straight playoff in a row, 2-3 years in a row after the Super Bowl, has one bad season, and they fire the coach before the GM. I mean, to me, how do you fire a Super Bowl winning coach like that just of one bad year? That's unheard of. And he did it because Howie Roseman.
I have to give you 2 Cowboy things on the way out the door. So I was talking with Steven. Now, guess what's being kicked around? Okay. Dak Prescott traded to the New England Patriots for the 3rd pick. Dallas takes Drake May. They get multiple picks from New England.
Is that April Fool's joke or is that real?
No, it's more of the Cowboys have not given him a contract offer. They have not given him an extension. Here's what would happen, Philly. If they allow him to go into September and they shut down that contract talk, the Cowboys will get no compensation for Dak Prescott if he walks out the door. They'll get nothing for him. So if they trade him now, they haven't offered him a deal. They haven't given him an extension. There's no talks on the table of giving him $60 million. They would trade him to New England. Now, again, the Cowboys aren't actively doing this, but teams, see, that's a smoke signal. When you don't give a quarterback an extension and you put him in a lame duck year, teams know to call and go, okay, what's the availability? Right. Is there availability? So this, I think there's multiple teams, but I heard the first one out of the gate was New England, and Prescott to New England for the third pick in the draft and multiple picks, like 3, 5, 6, maybe a 2.
Wow,
for him.
I definitely don't want that to happen. I don't. I want Dak to sign a lifetime contract with the Dallas Cowboys because
why is
guaranteed, that? Because you're guaranteed they're not going to do anything in the playoffs for all those years. He's a choker, right? I mean, no doubt about it. Hey, listen, man, I don't like the Reddick trade, but I still, everything leading up to that, I like it. And I want to say the other thing is, just because I don't like the Reddick trade doesn't mean I think Huff is a bust or Nolan Smith is a bust. It has nothing to do with them. This is just about giving away your best defensive playmaker for nothing, because I don't consider 2026 a draft pick I can even think about in terms of helping my team now. So it's a weird thing. I don't know if there's another shoe that has to drop. I don't know if there's something that we're going to find out later. But to me, it just doesn't make sense.
What do you make of this Isaiah Rodgers kid?
Everything I hear about him, he's pretty talented. He's pretty good. Now, I think they said he played mostly on the outside
and
special teams, but they're moving him inside, and that's the plan with him. That's why they got rid of Avonte Maddox. So we'll see. But I think from everything I've heard of him, he's supposed to be a pretty decent, pretty decent signing, and he should play and should contribute. So I would still draft a cornerback though. Nothing has changed for me. I would still draft a cornerback in round 1, but we'll see. I don't think they will.
Last question. Of all the moves they've made, what player will have the biggest impact on the team?
Oh, see, that's an interesting question, because I'll say Saquon Barkley is going to have the biggest impact, but I think Devin White's going to be the most surprising. I know you hate that, but I got to tell you it's true.
Yeah, because he hasn't been a player in 5 years.
I know, and the fresh start will be huge for him. It's like Jeremiah Trotter leaving Washington and coming back to Philly. He's shot, gets back to Philly, goes back to All-Pro. I think Devin White is going to shock everybody this year. He's going to be awesome, Sills. Going to be awesome.
You want to hear something that is so crazy with him? So last year, when he put a contract demand of $96 million on the table to the Bucs, and the Bucs started balking, he signs with the Eagles for $3 million. He took a $93 million pay cut when it comes to his market value. $93 million. He put $100 million basically contract offer extension on the table to them, and the Bucs had given him an extension the year previous, and they said no thank you. And you're confident this guy turns into year 2.
Now he's coming to take it out on everybody's ass. That's what I say. I love that. So I think it's a very low risk, high reward signing. You're paying him hardly nothing.
I don't want low risk. I want football players.
But he is a football player. You have even said it. He's talented. He's a football player. He was in the Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl, played great. He's a football player. We know it's
when he wants to be.
Well, now he wants to be. That's why he's playing on a 1-year deal. That's what my hope is. Because if he's ready to play, Sills, he's going to be good. you know he's going to be good. If he comes in clear head, ready to go, he ate his Wheaties in the morning, you know he's going to be good. And I have no, I mean, plus, I mean, we're talking about free agency. What the Eagles need to do is they need to go in and make sure that they draft linebackers, right? Edrin Cooper, guys like that. They need to draft young linebackers so that whether White is good or not, you have guys that are homegrown through your system.
You think they still stick there at linebacker, or wait, offensive tackle or edge rusher at 22, or do they move down?
I think they're trading up. No matter what, they're trading up.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Let me say this to you. If they trade up and Brock Bowers is there,
they're trading up. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I love the idea of another tight end. I love that idea. I think they're trading up, and I think they're going to.
What are they trading up for?
It'll be either 3 positions. Most likely, well, I'll tell you what. Most likely, it's going to be offensive lineman. I think they're going offensive line in the first round. And I also think if not offensive lineman, it's going to be an edge rusher. And then if not that, it's going to be a corner. I think it'll be one of those 3. But I think I think from everything we're hearing, they are like enamored with these offensive tackles coming out. And I can see I mean, I hear that they like a lot of those guys. The thing about the edge rusher is if you go out and you get an edge rusher, is every team know that you're going to be taking an edge rusher now in the first round. So they're going to do whatever they can to get ahead of you. I don't want to take the 6th best edge rusher when the top corner's on the board. You know what I'm saying?
Or the 2nd best OTs there.
Right. You know, I want the best player, but I think it's going to probably come down to the offensive or defensive line.
You see what Harbaugh's doing? Harbaugh's doing something that I've never seen a coach do in my entire life, and I think he has the chance to do this because he just comes from the college ranks. How about this Philly 500? J.J. McCarthy, who I think stinks.
Oh, yeah. Right.
He's doing this.
Greatest.
This guy's the greatest thing I've never seen. Holy shit. I
know.
Unbelievable. This guy had 22 touchdown passes in 15 games. I mean, that kid, Jaden Daniels, had 22 passes in 2 games. And you're sitting there going, this guy's, and he's like driving this guy up the market, and he's driving the tackles and receivers down for him. He's going to get the choice between Neighbors or Harrison. And in my opinion, I don't think Marvin Harrison separates himself from the kid from Washington, the 2 kids from LSU.
Right.
I don't think he's that far ahead. So I think Jim may even trade down and get a couple more guys.
Could. I mean, listen, I don't want the Giants to get Neighbors. I don't want that to happen because they might go. I don't know what they're going to do. They might go quarterback. Who knows? But for the Eagles, I don't mind. Listen, I don't mind thinking outside the box and going if you want to trade up and draft like Bowers or something like that. I would be okay with that. I think that would be a great thing.
Can you imagine Bowers in that offense in the middle of the field where there's no linebackers in today's NFL that could, the reason the tight end position is such a demanding position is because it's the biggest mismatch position. I told you this before. All the better players are at the corner position, right? The better players aren't. Look at the Eagles. You have a top flight tight end, you're going to eat that defense up because you have Kittle, the guy in Baltimore. Shit, even the guy Jake Ferguson in Dallas is a good ball player.
Right. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I don't think that's a bad idea, you know. But the key for me is you've got to come out of this draft with players that come in and play. You can't be sitting on the bench for 2 years, you know. So to me, I hope that they go. I really hope that they go best player available, whatever position it is in round 1, and then I want to see linebackers. I want to see another corner. I want to see guys that can come in and play and contribute. You know, take advantage of your offense being really good that you can play these young guys. You know, and I don't even mind them doing that with Huff and Smith. It's just they didn't need to take the extra step and get rid of Hassan Reddick. They could have just let him stay 1 more year, and you would have been fine.
Man, but you signed Reed Blankenship today. That's
Well,
what I'm talking.
here's-
Those are the kind of moves that get you over the hump against Kansas City.
Well, listen, a lot of people like Reed Blankenship. I think he's an okay depth
I
piece.
think he's okay too.
But if he's really super good and they think the world of him, they're not going to just give him a 1-year extension. The 1-year extension tells you exactly what they think of him.
Yeah, they want to replace him.
Yeah, eventually they want to replace him. They just want to give themselves an extra year to do it. So, to me, I like Blankenship as a depth piece, but, 1-year deal, that tells me that, they like him for the short term.
The two kings of Pasta Fazool.
Yes, sir.
Coming out of a big Easter weekend, man. I know there's a lot of grub at the table there because there was with me as well.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we had to swallow all of it after we watched the Hassan Reddick deal. I'm sure we both had agita after that. That gave me heartburn.
Hey, you remember last time I was on cloud 9. You were trying to keep down. What is going on? We did this. This is great. This is great. I was feeling good. And then that Hassan Reddick, that brought me down back to the even.
Chinatown.
Yeah.
My good friend. Great stuff.
Thank you, my man. Appreciate it.
Don't forget, folks, make sure you just type in Philly 500. Spectacular show. He does a great job. I'm a huge fan. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you, my man. Take care.
You got it. Philly 500. Yes, sir. The greatness of Reed Blankenship, baby. That's the home run hit in the offseason so far. Greatness right there. Hey, don't forget, NCAA March Madness is going on. Our great friends, JAKIB Sports and Underdog Fantasy, please do me a favor. Sign up. That's right. All you have to do is $10 minimum. They'll take you all the way up to $100. Simple as that. The promo code is WIN, W-I-N. That's W-I-N. Don't forget, Gary Cobb, 4:30 Eastern, breaking down the greatness of the Reed Blankenship signing. That's next. Big Sills, keep it here, National Football Show.
Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and certainly the easiest when you're watching the NBA. And the NBA playoffs are almost here, and you can win money making picks. What are you waiting for? Sign up on UnderdogFantasy.com and use the promo code WIN. An Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN. Get ready for the NBA and get ready for the NBA playoffs. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN.
Philadelphia fans were cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Mike Little was a union construction worker who was badly injured when he suffered a horrific fall because of someone's negligence. His life would change forever.
It was just a real downward spiral with everything you do, and you're sitting home by yourself all day. You can't go out because you can't drive, you can't walk well. It was just a horrible situation.
Call Brian Fritz at the Fritz & Beyond Cooley Law Firm at 215-548-2222.
Eagles. Eagles.
Let me take a look at this here, because I got to take a look at your linebacking core. Because somebody says I'm a little off on it here. Let me see the depth chart here for the Eagle. I got to look at this linebacking core. By the way, please hit the like button. I got to look at this. Eagles depth chart 2024. I got to look at this thing. Because the linebacker, I'm going to ask you that question here in a second. Let's take a look at who they got here at LB. Okay, here we go. So you've got Bryce Huff, Nakobe Dean, Devin White, and Nolan. I was right. Someone says somebody needs to get Sills a depth chart. Well, here it is. Bryce Huff can't play the run. Nakobe Dean can't play. Devin White can't play the run. Nolan Smith. Those are your linebackers. It's the worst linebacking core in the league. That's the worst linebacking core in the league. Okay? Bryce Huff. Who's the best player on that team? Nakobe Dean? Who's the best linebacker you have? Express this to me as a group. Let's not pick on Devin White. Let's not pick on Devin White. Bryce Huff, Nakobe Dean, Devin White, Nolan Smith. Who's your best linebacker? It can't be a draft pick. Wait. These are all your moves. Howie made 2 moves. You paid one of these guys $18 million. Here are the vaunted Eagle linebackers that are going to be in your 34. Yeah. Hey, look, your D-line, man, not bad. Let's see if they decided to put Josh Sweat back in there. I'm going to have to. Let's see here. So wait a minute. They're going to put Josh Sweat behind Bryce Huff? What the fuck? Clint, no, they're not. You're not going to play him at will. You can't. They're going to play Josh Sweat at will and not start him. I have no confidence in Vic Fangio. Hey, you guys do. Go ahead. That defense is 25th at best. Hey, Bryce Huff, Nakobe Dean, Devin White, Nolan Smith are your linebackers. Get this. I don't care who you are. You can sit here and call me names, LJ, and you can say whatever you want. How about this? Okay. He calls me a fat ass. I call that horse shit. At least I ain't playing in your linebacking core. Fangio has, Fangio, not Sills, his final say. So Fangio was the one that ran Hassan Reddick out of town. Way to go, Arthur. You ran your best pass rusher out of town. That's some decision. Well, we'll see if he lives with it. And then guess what here's what's going to happen. They're going to draft a linebacker. And then you know what you guys are going to say? See, they got the guy from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. They're going to put him inside there and play linebacker. And I'm going to go, are you really going to sit here and tell me? So you're going to get even less experienced and even more question marks by starting a rookie linebacker. It's not like you're starting a rookie linebacker next to Fred Warner. You're going to be starting him next to bums. Yeah, my linebacking core. Hold on. Xander, James. So the Philadelphia Eagles linebacking core for 2024, I'm going to assume it's a joke on April 1st. It has to be. With now Hassan Reddick not being there, you now officially have the worst run-stopping linebackers in the NFC East and possibly in the entire NFC. And you're going to try to explain to me with Bryce Huff, one of the worst rated run defenders, Nakobe Dean, who can't play and stay healthy, Devin White, who is a awful, Zach Cunningham and Nicholas Morrow had higher grades against the run than White did, who was benched by KJ Witt in Tampa Bay. And Nolan Smith, who nobody knows, and his name now should be Casper the Ghost. Sometimes you see him, sometimes you don't. It's the worst linebacking core in the league. All after the Hassan Reddick deal. So Vic, man, making an impact on your team already. Hiring bums and firing your best player you had. Okay. This is quite common. This is Cobb will be with us at the bottom of the hour. How is Vic Fangio helping you so far? What's his impact firing Reddick and hiring bums? I'm not as comfortable. You know what? I'm actually more comfortable with Kellen Moore now. Because get this. The Eagle front office is not going to let anyone screw that up because there's all that money over there. They'll let you screw that thing up over on defense because they don't really care. Their actions speak to it. I love Sills. Washington Nation would love you. James, I think you're doing a great job in Washington. I think the new GM's doing a heck of a job. They're trying to turn culture around. I hope they land Jaden Daniels. They got a way better coordinator, in my opinion, than what the Eagles did. And I think they'll know how to deal with Jaden Daniels. Personally, I think Jaden Daniels is the quarterback in the draft that's going to have the most success. I'll gamble and say that. Because I look at the quarterbacks and go, I don't really like any of them anyway. But if I was going to pick one, I would pick Daniels. Because I like his storyline. Okay? Seals, rank these needs for the Eagles. Cornerback, LB. Well, the needs at linebacker. It's a shitty linebacking core. Edge rusher, I think you need another pass rusher because, again, Milton Williams, you're going to play him at end? Okay. How many sacks do you think Milton Williams gives you? 3? Dude, Milton's a fine ball player. But I think he's an inside player. You say now that until he actually covers your team, then you will change your mind after 5 weeks. Fitness Warrior has no idea what he's talking about because if he watched the last 8 of his, he wouldn't be sitting here crying like that. This guy's crying because I told him exactly what would happen and he don't like it. You see, what I tell you, James, is the truth. This dude here, Fitness Warrior, doesn't like it because he's one of the guys that would come in here and try telling me we're 10-1, and I kept telling you, you ain't a 10-1 team, and you're not going anywhere. Versus the year before, I said you get to the Super Bowl. And I predicted you go to the Super Bowl, and you did. Okay? You guys kept going, we're 10-1, Sills, we're 10-1, we're great, you're just talking shit, you're trashing us, and you sucked. You were the worst defensive football team in pro football last year by ends here. See, unlike some of you guys like LJ in here, you know what he'll say? He'll go like this. We were good for 4 weeks. But by the season's end, you were the worst defense in the league. You couldn't even put up 10 points on the Bucks. That's how bad you were. That's how bad you were. The Bucks. The Bucks. Who didn't even score 10 points against the Carolina defense. Sills is a troll who says anything to get the follower. I don't give a fuck if you follow me or not over my takes. That's not why I do this. I do this because I comment on what I see. You have me way off, dude, once again. That's not why I do this. I've been in the business too long to do shit for just shit like that. Okay? Because then you start sounding like Bayless. Dude, when a guy does well, I give him his props. When a guy does shitty, I tell you who he is. That's all I do. You know, it's funny. You guys called me a flip-flop, like I said, and I proved a point to you. You flip-flopped on Wentz. The Bucks flip-flopped on Devin White. Players cause people to change narratives on them because why? Well, once you find out, did people flip-flop on Tiger Woods once they found out what kind of human being he was to his wife? Yes. Narratives change on people. Some people want you to hang with it. Like, get this. Here's a perfect example. LJ thinks that Sirianni's a better coach than Doug Peterson. He says he's a better coach. At least Doug lost his job for 4 wins. This guy almost lost his job for going to the playoffs 3 years in a row and 11 wins. What's that tell you? How good a coach is Nick? Then they tell you to sit down in the corner with your dunce hat on or your aluminum foil hat and be quiet and don't say anything. Think about that. But you know what he doesn't want to do? He doesn't want to change his narrative. Okay? Nick hasn't had a losing season. What the hell does that have to do with an organization that controls everything? They don't see. My God, his record means nothing. He was almost. Hey, folks, think about how dumb LJ is today and how he tries to tell you things. They were going to fire him for all those things he said that he's accomplished. No losing season, 3 playoff wins, taking a team to the Super Bowl. And he had to fight for his job in his interview. How does that happen? If he's so successful, why did he need a season-ending interview to save his job? Jeffrey Lurie said it. We decided to stay the course because he was talking about being proactive and making radical changes. And we also, they hired the coordinators over his head. But he don't want to say that because it hurts his narrative. Just because a coach has won more games than another coach, nobody would consider this. You think anybody really says that Nick Sirianni's a better coach than Dick Vermeil? According to LJ, Sirianni is a better coach because he's won more games, percentage-wise. Or here, let's make it more because he didn't win a Super Bowl. That Sirianni's a better coach than Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan's a play caller. He's actually a play caller. And I'm not saying he doesn't need to win. He does. But at least he has a job. Sirianni doesn't even have a job anymore. They stripped his job title away. He's a doorman at a strip club. That's who he is. He's a doorman at a strip club. And he had to fight for his gig. What great guy, what great coach who's had all this success fights for his job going to 3 straight playoffs and then gets everything taken from him. Seals, do you think it makes the Eagles better if the Reddick money gets used to bring in Justin Simmons? Jesus criminy, you want to bring in another old guy? Man, how many old one-year dudes do you want to continue to fix? We're talking about the 24 season. Don't be negative. Okay, so Mr. Perez doesn't want to be negative, and he likes the Hassan Reddick. We believe in Howie and our coaching staff. Really? Okay. Fourth coordinator, all these new coordinators again. Okay. And that guy, Mr. Perez, loves the Hassan Reddick deal where you get a draft pick in 3 drafts from now. And it doesn't help your team for 3 more drafts. I want you to think about that. The Hassan Reddick trade doesn't help your team for 3 more NFL drafts. How's that helping your team? You can't be any stupider. Hey, Sills, do you think when the Eagles announce the cheerleaders for this season that they will add Nick Sirianni on there because that's all he is? No, I think they're going to add Big Bill. I think he'll be in there with Nick too. Pretty soon, John McMullen maybe too. Hey, I'm not picking on. I like him a lot, man. He's good people, man. I'll tell you what, though, man. We got Reed Blankenship signed to a 1-year deal. That was important. Getting him signed up. Hey, you always know, just like Philly 500 said, you always know when you're really sold on a player. You don't give him a 3-year deal. You give him a 1-year. Let me wait around for a year to figure out what to do at safety here. We'll see. But, man, so I had to get Gary Cobb on. I have Angelo Cataldi coming on the next couple of days because he wants part of this thing here. I just don't get this. It's 3 draft choice. It's 3 years from now, really. 3 drafts from now, the 26th draft. It doesn't help your team at all. You get rid of your best pass rusher. Let's bring in Gary Cobb from Fox 29. Gary, make sense of this.
I don't get it. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, maybe he got mad or, I mean, somebody.
You think something happened?
What's that?
You think something happened?
I think it'd have to be somebody did something that upset somebody. I mean, maybe somebody was dishonest about something. That's when I have seen, whether it be an agent or whether it be a GM, where they say, look, you gave me your word on this, and because you gave me your word, I am making decisions about my team based on what you told me. Now, come on, we had an understanding, and you double-crossed me, man. I'm sorry. No, there's no excuse for that. I mean, you told me A, B, and C. Because some things changed, that has nothing to do with me. We had an agreement. That's where I could see this happens, because this surely does not help the Eagles. I don't care. There's no way you can explain this to me, how this helps the Eagles. Because, like you were just saying, the pick isn't until 2026. What good does 2026 do for what you thought? I mean, now I don't want to get all, positive, but Eagles have to go into this season in their thinking that, look, we're just a year away from a Super Bowl. We've got a lot of, we got players offensively. Look at the weapons we have. And we come into this, we've added Barkley, who we think, now whether they're right or not, puts us in a position where we're like the 49ers. The defense has to pick their poison. Are you going to stop Barkley? And you're going to, get those guys in the box? And this is what he had to deal with the Giants. I mean, in fairness, people stack the box against them. They go, we don't care about any of these other guys. They can't hurt us. They got a quarterback, can't get the ball to him. So we just got to stop Barkley, and we're walking out here with a W. So whether all of that's going to pan out or not, we don't know whether they're going to be, that effective offensively.
Gary,
But
can I throw in something that you and I know that I think what happened, and you tell me, and I want you to explain this to people, how feasible this is.
Yeah.
Say Vic sat down with all the personnel that started last year, and he got into what he wanted Reddick's role to be. And when Reddick heard the role on what he was and what he was going to be asked to do, Reddick said, I'm not covering anybody. I'm going to be like Hugh Douglas and rush the passer. And then Vic said, that's not the role I want for that position.
That's a good point.
I want a player that's going to be more versatile for me to be able to cover and rush. And do you think it all came down because, again, there was a big issue with the way Patricia used them?
Yeah.
And even to a point when Gannon used them early, but Gannon had the sense to change it up and go and say, all right, once they got those 2 tackles, they just rushed him off the edge. Could it be possible after their meeting that he met Gary and he found his rollout, both men wanted no part of one another?
You could be right. I've seen those type of things happen where the guy does not want to buy into that. And what I see Hassan Reddick and looking at him last year, I could see where that might have happened. That clearly could have been, what developed. And I could understand, because, Hassan is not a spring chicken. Meaning, like, you get to a certain point in your career, you're going, look, I'm not interested in all. Don't be changing up my role and everything. This is what I'm paid to do. This is what I do. I don't need all that nonsense. And he could decide to do that. Now, athletically, you can see that he could drop into an area and do a decent job of that because he's good enough athlete. But you're right. He could have said, look, I had to do some of that last year. I'm not interested in that. And that could have been what had happened. That could have been it. Still, if I'm Howie, I'm going to be hard-nosed, though. I'm not giving the guy away. He gave him
totally gave him away.
Gave him away, man. Come on. The Jets, imagine the Eagles could do that. They get a guy that they're giving a 2026 pick for.
To a guy with 27 sacks in 2 years.
Yeah, come on. That's where I could see where that would, that might have happened.
Could Reddick have said that I'm not happy here anymore?
I could see that, what would have been on the contract because, he's at home.
Yep.
So he liked the fact that he was in home.
Or maybe he's not happy in this system.
Now that, like I said, if they were asking him, they're saying, look, I know you did some dropping last year. You're going to do more this year. You're going to be dropping, covering the flat. We're going to have you dropping into the curl. They could do that. So I could understand that, if it happens, it's a shame. I don't see why you can't work around guys because, he's such an effective pass rusher that, come on. People change their defense and change their system to fit their talent. People do that.
Jim Johnson was awesome at that.
Come on, and I think right now you got to do that. You have to adapt because if you got a guy that can get to the passer, you surely. Come on, look at the way other teams are fighting to get pass rushers. Anybody that can get to the passer, because if you can't in this league, it's just like somebody got a gun to your head, you're dead. Because if you can't get to the passer, and you can't disrupt them. You're just going to have problems against good teams. You're really not going to. You can't stop them. If you got no pass rush, and so now you're flipping a coin, and you've got young kids. You can say what you want, but they haven't done it yet. Even the kid from the Jets. He had one season. He got 10 sacks. You could go back and look at the stats, and I know that they say good things about him, but you're not as confident when it's just 1 year. And you got somebody that's young.
Gary,
Yeah.
Here's the linebacking core, and you tell me what you think. Here's on the depth chart of the 34 that he's going to run. They're going to run a base 34, and the depth chart reads Bryce Huff, who is rated as one of the worst run defenders.
Yeah, I know.
Kobe Dean is a starter.
Yeah.
Devin White, who is not very good against the run.
Hey, both
and
of
Nolan
those guys,
Smith.
you know how small that linebacking crew is? Both of those guys they're not 6 foot. Either one of those guys is 6 foot. They are miniature inside.
That's
very
right.
small.
I didn't think about the size factor. They're both 6 feet.
Yeah, and they're listed at 6 feet. But look, I stand next. I know Nakobe.
He's 5'11".
Yeah. You know, and so
what do you make of this core? Nolan Smith, Devin White, Nakobe Dean, Bryce Huff. Those are your 4 linebackers on your 34 defense. I could make the argument they're the least experienced and the worst run-stopping defensive linebackers in the league.
They got their work cut out for them because they are undersized, as you said. And you get somebody that gets in there and gets very physical, and you know that's what you're going to do because, and you know, basically they have their guards and guys just fire off at them, and they're going to be up them. They're not going to have any idea where the ball is. They got a guy over them like that, and they're
just
down here.
Gary, you're 6'6" going against a 6 foot guy. How do you see? How are you even going to just physically even be in a presence where you know where you are on the field when you've got 6'6", 6'6", 6'5" in front of you, and you're 2 6 foot, 215-pound linebackers?
They got their work cut out for them, and really what it's going to do is really puts a lot more pressure on, you know, the guys in front of them. You know, they got to be dominant, and really, honestly, you talk about coming into the season. All I could think is I would be over there, you know, I wouldn't someone say anything disparaging. I'm over there with a whip. If I'm a coach, I got to get it out of the out of these young kids. They got to be dominant. Those 2 defensive tackles have got to be dominant players. Now you drafted both of them in the first round. They're capable of that, but they got to be in so much better shape, you know. And they got to be hungry, and they got to want to be great. You know, that's what you got to get. And Jordan Davis, you know, he's really, come on. He was not in shape last year. The kind of shape he's got to be in, they need it out of them. And I don't know the defensive line coach, but they got to get the defensive line coach that connects with them, and they got to push these guys because they got to be dominant. If they got those linebackers playing in back of them, miniature linebackers, they got to be dominant in order to stop people from running a football on.
I didn't even think about the fact and how small they were there. Now, this leads me to this. Do you think that they're going to and here, before you even go over there, Gary, you've covered this team for decades. Why is it so that they don't have a problem dropping a ton of cash on one side of the ball, and yet on the other side, it's get this, look, and I'm trying to. People don't see this, and of course you know because we're both been paid before, and you know how they didn't upgrade the position. They just moved Hassan Reddick's contract over to Bryce Huff. He's the same guy. Yeah. You didn't really upgrade anything just with a new face. That's not an upgrade.
Well, they got younger. I will give them that.
Okay, they got younger, but that means to me more inexperienced.
I mean, you're right. I mean, you know.
But why do they spend money on one side and not the other? You think that comes from the owner?
I think that is their design. Yeah, I do think that their mentality is, you know, that they see themselves being dominant on the offensive side of the ball, and defensively they just want to control the offense, meaning, you know, take away the big plays. But they're not looking for that dominance on the defensive side of the ball. You know, they want to have a good defensive front, and I think they're altering their system, their design. You know, their formula is the correct word. They're altering that formula because Saquon Barkley is an altering of the formula. You know, they didn't have that formula where they're going to spend that much money on the running back, but they altered the formula And I think now that with this whole thing with Hassan Reddick, I think that's the altering of the formula as well, because they always and they're dependent on these young guys to develop. They got to develop this year, meaning during the season they've got to develop where they've got consistent pressure coming from both sides. So you're asking two young players to give it to you this year. That's what they're dependent on.
How about this, Gary?
Yeah.
What do you think of the experiment that Howie has done? And how do you think the Georgia experiment has gone? Nakobe Dean, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Keely Ringo, and Nolan Smith. How do you think that, he went to that pool 5 times?
Yep.
And when I look at this, I mean, out of the 5 players, it looks like Carter could be the player, but the rest of them, I don't know. I mean, you just because you go to Georgia here, Nakobe Dean, Jordan Davis, who's a 2-down player, not a 3-down player.
Yeah.
Carter looks like he could be a star. Keely Ringo and Nolan Smith. You got 5 guys on that team that you went to national championship Georgia, and I got to tell you, I don't see it yet.
Well, they clearly have not been dominant. I did see the things in Carter where you can say, I could see him being that guy. Okay. What you went there to get, that you get out of him. Davis has been a tremendous disappointment. He's one-dimensional, and come on, I don't know if he's got it, because even if he's just dominant against the run, that's not worth it in today's game.
And Nakobe's going into his 3rd year.
Yeah, he hasn't shown it. He has not. Nobody can say that he's shown that he is a marquee player. So you look at all those guys. You look at Ringo. He's still a question mark. Nolan Smith, come on. He hasn't shown it to you yet. And I would have liked to have seen more out of Nolan Smith last year, where he showed some power, because I didn't see any power in him. He's got the speed around the corner, but he's got to have that combination of power to where he can make a offensive tackle respect him as a bull rusher. He hasn't shown me that. He's a guy who they could just swat away, and so he could develop into that guy, but he's a big question mark. But what you said about the Georgia thing, that's definitely a big question. But I'd say Carter.
And these are big draft picks.
Yeah. Other than Carter, and Davis is really the guy that you look at and you go, no, man, I don't.
13th pick. That ain't the 13th pick.
Nothing but a run stopper. Come on, you got to give you more. Now, I've seen the potential, but man, they got to get harder on him. He's got to get more. You got to be
so
better.
Supposedly,
shape.
Nolan Smith is now going to get Reddick snaps.
I know.
I don't feel good about that. Do you?
No. I come on. He has not showed you that yet. No, he has.
Or
not.
has he earned it yet?
No, he hasn't earned it. He really didn't. He didn't earn that.
Gary, do they give jobs away in Philly instead of earning them?
Well, I think right now, this move right here, this is the adjustment of their formula. Because you're over there. Howie's over there hoping. This is not anything that you could look at and say, okay, I'm a detective and I see evidence. I haven't seen evidence, yet. I haven't seen the evidence really with Davis and Smith. Those 2 guys, I have not seen it. If I see Smith run over somebody, get, just nasty, and, he got the speed around the corner, but I haven't seen any power or anything. And when I look at him, I'm going, man, he's too light in the cakes, man. He's going to get thrown around.
Gary, you
maybe
really
he gets in the weight room and gets bigger, but I haven't seen it yet.
You really bring an important, I think, comment up about the size. And not only is this a troubling defense when it comes to stopping the run, but these guys are small,
man.
Get this, 2 years ago, that 22 defense, that was a big group of dudes.
That's right.
This group here is smaller and lighter.
They are.
At almost every position.
Yeah.
So you've gotten younger and smaller and less experienced inside of 2 years.
Yeah.
and in some ways cheaper. And how is that championship football?
You know, this is a gamble. You know,
Totally. This big gamble here.
This is without a doubt a gamble. And, you know, I don't know how bad these guys want it. You know, I mean, if they had guys where you knew that, man, you know, you see them in there and they just leave it. They live and eat football. I know the kid Davis, he doesn't live, eat football. You know, he's a bright kid and, you know, but
there's no dogs.
That's what I'm saying. I don't see that dog in, you know, like with Smith. I haven't seen him get violent with anybody. I haven't seen that in him. And with the way he's undersized. Now, that's the thing with Hassan. Hassan has got that dog in him, man. He's gonna fight. And you gotta have that because you're going against bigger people. All the guys you're battling are bigger than you. You have got to be a fighter. Now I say Nolan Smith has the athleticism, but I don't know if he has that dog in him, man. And he's going to have that because, you know, he's giving up a lot of weight to these guys and he's going to get thrown and stuff, but he's got to be just nasty. And every time they throw him, he's coming harder. And if they make a mistake, he run right over them, you know. And I haven't seen that power. Hassan has that kind of power where the guy makes a mistake, he's going out physical him. And really, you know, a lot of this game is pride and everything. And you got a big offensive tackle, got to go back to the boys. And he let Hassan Reddick run over him, see. Now, is Smith going to be able to do that? I haven't seen that side of him, you know. And he needs that side of him.
Gary, lastly here, James brings a point up that, and we were talking in the last hour about this. So if Reddick goes to the Jets and he doesn't sign an extension and he plays for the $15 million, I mean, I don't get why this didn't work out for. Why didn't you just make him play out? He would have played anyway.
He would have played.
He would have played because he would have knew this was his last year.
Come on. Hey.
Do you think Vic Fangio pushed him out?
You know, I kind of think he didn't like him or whatever. And I'm going like, the guy can rush the passer. I don't care about, you know, you're going to talk about dropping. Look, that guy's not going to make a big difference how he drops. Come on. You're not going to have him dropping that much anyway. He's a pass rusher. He's shown he can get to the passer. You got to be able to get to the passer in today's game. You got to be able to get to the passer. So I'm going like, how are you going to let this guy walk? Even if he's unhappy, because just with Hassan, I don't know everything he's doing, but I know he's doing things here locally. He's from this area. He's doing things off the field, you know, where he's got some business ventures and things. He really wants to stay here now. Would he play here for $15 million? I know he would not be happy with that. But if you just said, look, we need you, man. So he's here playing. Come on. He's going to play hard.
So get this, though. But again, if they play it out, let's just do this. He plays it out. They lose him in free agency. They still would have got a third-round comp.
That's right.
Instead, they get a second 3 drafts from now.
That's right.
You would have got one the following year, a third round.
Come on.
Again,
you're right.
Something had to be said, or someone said, I'm not playing here, or someone said, I don't want you here. Because you know what? Business-wise, it doesn't make sense for Philly.
It makes no sense.
Just play him.
Come on. They are not a better team without him on the roster. Come on.
Correct.
Don't come and tell me you're a better team without him on your roster. Don't tell me that, because you're not being honest. There's no way you can tell me you are a better football team. And then, come on, all these moves you made was to be a better football team this year. You are not a better football team without him this year. Come on. And it's a big jump, because if you can't get to the quarterback in this league, you are in danger defensively, because it's easier to throw the ball. Come on. They call, you know, all the penalties they're called when the ball's in the air against the defense. And come on, if you can't get to the passer, Come on. And the thing is, you got question marks in your secondary. Come on. You're not filled all the holes that you got to fill.
And
so
Blankenship ain't it.
You need a pass rusher, and there's no way they could look me in the face and say that this makes them a better football team without him. No, that's not honest.
Absolutely. Gary, thank you so much, my friend. I mean, as the Eagle world turns is very interesting each and every single week.
I tell you, if you dig out why they did this, boy, that would be something.
Boy, I'll tell you.
I'll let you know if I find out.
Get this, Gary, there's just nowhere you go, yeah. Well, you do this. How does that make you better?
It doesn't.
You signed a guy who's less experienced than you, has less skill set, but does the same stuff you do, and he's younger. And you're projecting. He even said it the other day at the owner meetings. He's projecting that he's going to be you're not even sure he's a 3-down guy.
That's right. That's right. You're projecting, and there's no way. I mean, and you're trying so hard to get better. What sense does this make?
I'm with you, man. And of all things, it was on a Friday media dump, too. So it just didn't make sense. Gary, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
Have a good one.
You got it. That's our friend Gary Cobb. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and certainly the easiest when you're watching the NBA. And the NBA playoffs are almost here, and you can win money making picks. What are you waiting for? Sign up on UnderdogFantasy.com and use the promo code WIN. An Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN. Get ready for the NBA and get ready for the NBA playoffs. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN.
Philadelphia fans were cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Mike Little was a union construction worker who was badly injured when he suffered a horrific fall because of someone's negligence. His life would change forever.
It was just a real downward spiral with everything you do, and you're sitting home by yourself all day. You can't go out because you can't drive, you can't walk well. It was just a horrible situation.
Call Brian Fritz at the Fritz and Beyond Cooley Law Firm at 215-548-2222.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. What's more likely of a scenario? Vic Fangio and Hassan Reddick met, and Vic laid out how he wanted to use him. And Hassan Reddick said, that's not to the best of my skill set. And then there became a conflict. Vic went to Howie and said, let's get a younger player and a guy I can coach. And that's why they went with the younger player in Bryce Huff. And they were going to move him at every expense. The roster bonus proves it too, that they weren't going to pay him, which meant they weren't going to keep him. I think when they had their meeting, in my opinion, I think that's right there when Reddick knew that he was not going to be a Philadelphia Eagle. They had never made him a contract offer. They were doing everything possible to move him. All the things around him they were doing. It's not speculation. Chris says this, get this. Here's what Chris is saying is speculation. They drafted Nolan Smith to replace him. Nolan Smith now is getting his reps, according to John McMullen. They told him to go find another job or look for another dance partner for a potential trade team. Then they move the roster bonus. Then they sign a player that exactly duplicates his skill set. Then he's moved before April 1st when that is due, that $1 million roster bonus. That's not speculation. That's what they did. And the only conclusion you can come, and they never offered him a contract. How is that speculation? When I just said, that's not an opinion, what I just said. What I just said happened. I never heard $25 million price tag. I'd never seen that. I've never seen that. When Howie was asked the question at the owners' meetings, have offers been exchanged? He goes, no. Who came to me first? The agent. The Eagles weren't negotiating. You're guessing why he was moved. Look at how Chris is looking at what they did and not seeing that they had no intention of bringing him back. Yale, he didn't. I have never heard he wanted Myles Garrett money. Nobody, show me where that's printed, where he said he wanted $25 million. It's nowhere. I looked it up. I never saw anywhere where he said he wants Bosa money. I've never seen that quote from he or his agent. I've never seen it. And no, that's not the case. Bryce Huff got $18 million. Okay, Twiz. Twiz goes, Reddick's gone. Well, explain the draft choice in 3 drafts from now. How that makes sense. So you don't even, how about this? You get no compensation for the player for 3 more drafts. Where does you win this? He wanted market value. Dude, you said he wanted $25 million, which was a lie. Nobody in his camp made that number. You made that number up. No, Jadeveon Clowney is not getting $24 million a year. He signed for $24 million over 2. Another lie. That's right, Jason. The media made that number up because of the agents. Correct. Howie knows they're done. They need to rebuild after this year. Reddick's deal was a white flag wave. Defensively, right? Heard 25. Is what Reddick's agent want? Show me where that's printed. It's nowhere. That's a lie. That's a lie. Nowhere did Hassan Reddick's agent ask for $25 million annually from the Eagles. That's a lie. It's a bull-faced lie. And for the record, why, if that's the case, why haven't the Jets given him a $25 million contract extension? If that's the so-called dance partner, wouldn't you have done what Snead did 3 days later or 2 days later, signing one of the most richest contracts for a pass rusher? Why is this thing gone? Okay, look, how about this? if Hassan Reddick doesn't sign a contract extension by the end of this week with the Jets, what you're saying is a complete lie. And the Jets are here's what the Jets are going to do. The Jets are going to let him play out his final year of his contract at $15 million. He'll go into free agency, go somewhere else, and they'll get a compensation of a third rounder for him. Basically covering the second round 2 years from now. But they get it a year earlier than you. How does that make sense for you? Where did Howie win this? Where did Howie win this? Yeah, but he's not hurt right now, Yale. The Jets are pushing for $21 million. Why would they do that when they have a player under contract for 15? Why would the Jets? That just shows you some of you don't know what you're talking about. Why would the Jets be pushing for 21 when they got the guy signed to another year at 15? Why would they compete against themselves? Well, why would they do that? Hassan Reddick is not signing for $20 million. They're going to let him play out. If that man is not signed by Friday, it's a colossal disaster for the Eagles. That's right. Yeah. What if Joe Douglas goes like this? You're on a 1-year prove-it deal. Let's see what happens. You bring us 14 sacks, and next year he's 31. So you guys really believe that the New York Jets are going to sign Hassan Reddick, who turns 30, sign him to a 3-year deal. So at the end of his deal, he's 33 years old at $25 million, and they're going to give him wait, Chris. So you think they're going to give a player who will be 33 years old $75 million when his deal is up in 3 years? You see what he just said? Yes. They're going to pay Hassan Reddick $75 million for a 33-year-old edge rusher who's limited. And according to John McMullen, whose skills are diminished. They signed Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, look at this. They signed 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was coming off of a most valuable player year. Do you know in the last 4 years, Aaron Rodgers has won 2 MVPs? You might want to put that in there. 38 and 39, he won the most valuable player award. Little different guy. They will extend him this. You're going to give a guy whose skills are diminished and 33 at the end of the contract, a $75 million deal. Never happened. Out of your minds. Out of your minds. Okay? So what would you have done with Reddick? Make him play his deal out. Trade him before March, or trade him on draft. Trade him right before the draft when his value's higher. And I'm not worrying about a draft pick 3 years from now. The Eagles are going to get their draft pick 3 years from now? Okay, great. Again, here. Let's just do this. The Reddick deal is done, but the damage is still here. You got zero compensation for him on helping your defense that you need help today. You got zero help. I said Reddick was the only defensive player that you had that made impact. And I'm not a fan of the player. But he did rush the passer. The NFL will eventually look like the Pro Bowl. Dudes in shorts running around playing flag football. We freed up cap space. No, you didn't, jackass. You moved Reddick's contract over to Bryce Huff. It's the same contract. Holy cow, you just signed the guy to a brand new contract extension. And yes, that number comes down because it's pre-June 1. Howie went cheap because of the cap hit on Huff. This was not a move, a success. Some of you in here are the only people on the planet who think that's a good move. You're actually worse today than you were on Friday. You're worse today than you were on Friday on defense, on a football team that desperately needs football players. Reddick was a sack master that's better. Right, get this. So you take those 11 sacks off your team. I don't know if Bryce Huff's – how do you know Bryce Huff is going to do that? He hasn't proven anything. He's a one-year wonder. How do you know that? You know what Reddick did to me? I said, I don't get it when he first got here, if you remember. I said, I don't get it. Because Gannon didn't know how to use him. But once Gannon kind of figured it out, he took off and was a force down the stretch run. And I was like, well, he's limited in a lot of things, but the one thing he does do is hit the passer. And he does get home. And that year in 22, he was number 1 on third down sacks and caused fumbles. He was an impact guy that year, and he destroyed the NFC title game. If you really want to go the divisional game and the conference championship game, Reddick was the best player on the field. He was the best Eagle. That's right, Yale. He single-handedly beat San Francisco. Destroyed that game. Hurts stunk in both games. He was the best player on the field. In both games, Giants and in the NFC title game. Best player on the field. And he produced for you. Last year, he started the season out in a cast. John said he had diminished skills. Well, I don't know about that, but I know he started out with an injury. And then that whole colossal disaster with the defensive coordinators. If DB goes, Reddick did nothing the last 5 games. Did anybody on that team? Hurts was the worst player on that starting offense. And Hurts was the worst player on the field the last 5 games. You want to go there? He was outplayed by everyone, including Baker Mayfield, Drew Lock, Kyler Murray. They all outplayed him. He was terrible. Whatever. I'm going to take a timeout and reset. Howie Vision. Yes, sir. I saw Xander's face when he was talking. He's like, I don't know, man. This don't look like we got the – hey, just think, man. 3 years from now, that you guys are all old and gray, you get your draft pick for Reddick. That's okay. It'd be a 3-win team by then. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and certainly the easiest when you're watching the NBA. And the NBA playoffs are almost here, and you can win money making picks. What are you waiting for? Sign up on UnderdogFantasy.com and use the promo code WIN. An Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN. Get ready for the NBA and get ready for the NBA playoffs. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN.
Philadelphia fans. We're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Mike Little was a union construction worker who was badly injured when he suffered a horrific fall because of someone's negligence. His life would change forever.
It was just a real downward spiral with everything you do, and you're sitting home by yourself all day. You can't go out because you can't drive, you can't walk well. It was just a horrible situation.
Call Brian Fritz at the Fritz and Beyond Cooley Law Firm at 215-548-2222.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. I got to give it to the women's basketball. Welcome to sports media. You're finally a player. Congratulations to you. You know why? Now they're doing hit pieces on you. Now they're trashing people like Kim Mulkey and her basketball program. I loved what she said. Somebody did a hit piece on her in the Washington Post. You know what she said? Tell me something I don't know about me. What's new? Okay. Am I a hard ass? Am I an asshole? Yes. Tell me something I don't know. I love it. Someone goes, why now? Why would you bring all these things up? Because they're relevant. They don't come after you when things, again, are just not relevant and you're not relevant. They don't come after you then. Look at JFK Jr. Now that he could swing the presidential election, he's the worst politician in the history of the United States because he's going to swing the election in one direction. So people, both sides, are going to villainize the guy as much as they possibly can because he's relevant. This is what you do when people are making their way up the ladder. And I think it's great. Did a hit piece because you know why? This guy, I guess that the LA Times, he covers UCLA Golden Girls and all those great, wonderful UCLA women basketball players. And then he calls the LSU girls the dirty debutantes. I love that. It's great. It's a merit badge. Guy wants to do racial undertones. Fantastic. Because you know what it does? It creates a buzz. It's great publicity. It's the best thing ever happened to women's basketball. People taking shots at people. This is what they do every day. And men. Just because you're a woman, who gives a shit? You're now a sport that matters. You're selling out arenas. It's white hat, black hat. It's all of that. It's perfect. That's why it matters. Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark. By the way, when she's doing the ring and she's doing this, I freaking love that. I did that shit. They hated it. I don't care. And get this, I heard her at a press conference go, I don't hate Caitlin. I just want to beat her ass. That's what Jordan and Bird did. It's the greatest thing ever happened to women's sports, and it made it more relevant this year than the men. It's so, by the way, I've never circled a women's basketball game in my life more than tonight with Iowa LSU. I think LSU is going to beat them by 10. because of all the shit going on with the coach and all the coach reminds me of Jimmy Johnson and how she coaches with swagger. Okay? I love it. The dirty debutantes, some call it racism, was an LA. I go, an LA Times guy is racist, highly doubtful. You talk about one of the most liberal newspapers in the United States. I doubt he's a racist. He's a sexist maybe, but not a racist. The dirty debutantes, you know what he wants them to do? What? Wear a skirt when they play basketball? Those women play with an edge. Any great athlete plays with an edge in some, what is how we call it? Swagger. Okay? Swagger. It's great. I told you this in hour one. Isn't it funny? Hey, Yale, think about this, Barb. You guys can Google it. The most hated team in the history of American sports. I was one of the centerpieces on that team. Hated more than the Flyers, your Flyers. Hated more than the Cowboys. Hated more than the bad boys of the Detroit Pistons. Was my guys. Why? Because we told you to go fuck yourself. Always. You weren't going to push us around. You called us convicts? Yeah, how about this one? They said that we had to take, Miami's the only team that took their picture from the front and side. Who could do that? What, because what? We had a lot of black guys on our team? Hey, LJ, I didn't put the list together. Sports Illustrated did. And then so did 24/7 Sports. As much as they updated it, we're still number one. My point is, we're relevant because we were trendsetters. And you remembered us. Had nothing to do with national championships. It had everything to do with the way we played the game. After 35 years, people still remember us. Convicts and Catholics. We were in the place at the right time with the right coach, like Kim Mulkey with LSU is. Okay? I heard that freestyle of Greg Olson too. I wouldn't say he's a rapper podcast. Okay? I wouldn't say he was. I bet the Coke bill for Sills' Miami team was off the charts. Nobody did drugs on my team. You know what we took? Winning pills. 37-0. Regular season. 58 games in a row at home, unbeaten in a decade. Nobody came into the Orange Bowl and beat us. We beat everyone. Records that will never be broken. They make lists and statues and write books about me to this day of what we did back then. Do you understand that? And I'm an old man now. And as LJ would say, a fat ass. They still write books about me. They make lists about me. They reference me. They referenced me today on Undisputed. Those Miami teams back in the day were just off the charts. Nasty. Take a look when we got a 15-yard penalty because we wouldn't shake the hands of Oklahoma. And Jerome Brown looks over at Brian Bosworth and goes, "Fuck you, I ain't afraid of you. You're going to die here today. Because I'm willing to." And we're sitting there going, this ought to be good. We're the only team in NCAA history to start a game with a 15-yard penalty before the game started. I took no shit from it. The guy I am, hey, Yale, the guy I am today, okay, the guy I am today, it's taken 35 years not to be that guy I was. Okay? it's taken me a long time. My aunt will tell you. My wife will tell you. It's taken me a long time not to be that guy anymore. I had guys who were drug dealers at night. And see, when you have a column written like that from the LA Times, and a guy writes a column calling them dirty debutantes, and many of those black girls come from impoverished situations, single moms and such like that, and you got that kind of scenario there, of course there's a racial undertone. I don't know about wiser, older maybe. And and Yale, slower. Okay? Seals, another record that will never be beat is De La Salle football team. Oh, yeah, that football. Hey, is that Kyle, isn't that the football team up in the Bay Area that John Madden used to love, right? Seals, why do you want to move away from the old school? Why would you want to move away from old Sills? Sam, because that's not a friendly guy. Old Sills wasn't friendly. I wasn't friendly. I wasn't a good dude. And I don't mean like I treated people poorly. I didn't, it just wasn't. I fought a lot of people. I was always fighting. And I didn't want to be that guy anymore. Dude, I threw a guy out of a building in Maryland. That's how I landed in Miami. I was either going to Miami or Oklahoma, the only two places that would take me. LSU, too. I don't want to be that guy. My aunt's crying. She watches the show daily. They threw me out because they threw a guy into a snowbank. Got into a fight. My aunt and my grandmother were crying to keep me at Maryland. I wouldn't have left. I wouldn't have left. I had to. What if Buddy Ryan drafted you, Sills? Jerome would have played good that night. I'd have been an Eagle. Kyle goes like this. Sills, every workplace needs a worker that's an asshole. That's me. Yeah, but man, I don't want to be that guy anymore. Okay? Hey. Well, Dirty D, are you trying to give me Mobb Deep? Not a convict if never convicted. What are you trying to say? Ain't no such thing as halfway crooks? Hey, Dirty D, is that what you're saying to me, man? No such thing as halfway crooks? Being angry. No, it's not, man. It's not a good place. No, it's not a good place. Just, it's not. And I don't want anything about it. I don't like that guy. It's like Mike Tyson stuff. When I hear Tyson talking, okay. Yeah, when you hear Tyson talking, you're like, yeah, man, I know. You don't want to be that guy. You just don't want to be that guy anymore. It's taking me and plus my kids made me a better man. That's for sure. Halfway cooks is never around when the beef cooks. That's exactly what I was thinking. All right, let me reset here. No, hey, getting back to why we brought this stuff up is because I'm really looking forward to this. Man, I'll tell you what, isn't this got a Magic Johnson, Larry Bird taste to it between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark? God, I love this. This is really, really great. And by the way, I'm going to say it, Xander. I'm sorry. Now we're really talking about women's sports here, not the politics around it. We're talking about women sports. This is the essence of it. You don't need the White House getting involved. You don't need a flag. You don't need an act of Congress. This is just two girls, two programs playing tonight. All they have, and elevating a sport. And not because of politics. It's elevating a gender. And it's generic. That's what makes this important. This is important because it's elevating, enlightening. It's great. It's the best thing I've ever seen since Serena Williams. Dirty D says it. Never going to ruin Easter for me. That's not happening. And this, the day after Easter, is fantastic. Fantastic. These two women are going to go down for elevating women basketball the same way that Magic Johnson and Larry Bird elevated the NBA out of tape-delayed finals in '79. Mark my words. This will be the most watched game of the tournament, men and women tonight. Because you're going to want to see the sidebar shit. It's fantastic drama in theater, in women's sports, who get no play and no run. Dude, the NBA tonight? Hey, think tank. Think about this. If you're an NBA guy and you're playing, you want to watch this thing tonight. Memphis Grizzlies, Milwaukee Bucks, no thank you. The NBA is boring. You have no storylines. What happens when LeBron leaves? Why am I watching the NBA again? Joel Embiid? Oh, thanks, Joel. Let me guess. You're playing tonight. Tomorrow? Will you even be in Philly next year? Who cares? Who cares? Another organization that's Philadelphia Sixers have to be the biggest underachieving basketball team in NBA history under Josh Harris. I mean, dude, since Josh Harris has owned that team, he's the most underachieving owner. And trust the process? Why? I mean, you've had star player after star player, and you're bounced in the opening round. Every great NBA player leaves people still going to watch the NBA. Good for you, because I know. Wake me up in June when the finals are there, and I get. And by the way, here's the problem you have. Can I tell you the problem with the NBA? The NBA, all your star players are now going to be, once LeBron leaves, are going to be European players. America doesn't root for European players. They root for homegrown. Or Roger Federer would be a superstar. Or Rory McIlroy would be a superstar. And nobody cares about them. Care about American-grown athletes. Okay? I think Shohei Ohtani, the only reason that he's special is because he hits and pitches, and no one's ever seen anything like it. Shohei Ohtani is different. He's the modern-day Babe Ruth. He's the greatest athlete baseball's ever seen. And so there's a different dynamic with him. He could be the best pitcher, like Schilling said the other day. He could be the best pitcher. He could be the best pitcher that day and also the best hitter that day in the same game, which is different. Okay? Dirty D, he is. Americans don't, that's why we don't, get this. The reason why Americans don't like soccer, nobody gives a shit about Cristiano Ronaldo. Nobody cares about Lionel Messi. Unless you're around the world. In America, I could line up 15 kids. They wouldn't know who those guys were. But they would know who Tom Brady and Kobe Bryant were. Okay? They wouldn't know who the Joker was. I have no clue who those guys are. Americans don't root for overseas stars. Just don't. Hey, The greatest athletes, like Roger Federer, he was spectacular. Pete Sampras will always be remembered more than him by Americans. Just how we look at sports. I love world-class soccer, and a lot of younger demo know soccer, thanks in large part for FIFA video game. Slagger, I would say this to you, the problem that you have with America, and I was told this. Oh, God, who's the bald-headed soccer? I got a picture of him, me and him. Oh, man, who's the kid who was on the U.S. team for years? Told me the reason that soccer will never be big in America. Oh, man, who's that guy? I got a picture. Let's see if I still got it of him. It's not Clint Dempsey. Oh, man, I forgot who that guy is. Not Freddie Adu. He's a white dude. The bald guy. Oh, man. Yeah, he told me the story on why. Because as you get older, you have to pay for all those camps. And when you pay for all those camps, it's not Clint Dempsey. Landon Donovan, that's it. I got a picture of Landon. Got a bunch of really cool pictures of Landon Donovan. Landon said the reason why soccer in the United States will never get anywhere, because you got to join these camps, and it's $100,000 a year to join these camps. Whereas when you're in Argentina, or you're in Chile, or you're in France or in Europe, they're free. So the greatest players in the world all get trained by the greatest teachers in the world for nothing. You go to these camps. In America, the guy who spends the most money goes to those camps. The majority of them are white. And that's why you got a bunch of country club guys at the U.S. level always getting beat and being 20th in the world. We'll never be great in my lifetime in soccer because we have country club kids playing it. Lionel Messi's not a country club guy. Okay? And that's Landon Donovan saying it. If you don't have $100,000, you're never going to send your kid to a national team. And our athletes stop playing it. Our athletes stop playing when they get to high school. And can you imagine LeBron James and Michael Jordan playing soccer? And how great Ray Lewis or any of these other guys? Why would they stop? Well, they don't have the economic money to go join these soccer clubs. Tennis too, that's right. Okay? How he went from Iowa, LSU to here. All good, okay? I'm just looking forward to this tonight. Sills, I'll never, ever watch Live Golf. Saudis chopping people up on one hand and putting international smile faces on the other. Sam, let me ask you this. So do you have a problem with the United States government doing business and trade with them on a daily basis? Or is it just a Live Golf? The president of the United States went over there and begged them for oil. They're doing the same thing. And you have a problem with that? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm totally not saying you're wrong. Okay? I'm not saying you're wrong. Hey, Brian, 9/11 too. UFC does business there. Oh, hey, Sam, okay. I mean, hey, you're not wrong, Sam. Chopping, human rights violations. Hey, to build all those soccer stadiums for the FIFA World Cup, how many people were dying on a daily basis? 150 people were dying. FIFA didn't give a shit. Still held it. Okay? I mean, they still held it. I mean, so it's a complex scenario. It is. Get your money, not mad at the players. That's what Twiz says. And Twiz, he's talking obviously about Mickelson. They gave Phil Mickelson $150 million to join the Live. They offered Tiger $1 billion. Tiger said no because he's got more to lose because of his legacy. Tiger, Jack, those guys have more to lose because the PGA is their legacy, and they don't want to sell their legacy. But Phil's legacy was never fulfilled because he was in the Tiger era. That's why it was easier for him to sell his legacy. Phil sold his green jackets for $150 million. I don't know if I begrudge him on it. That's a lot of money. Maybe it was $250 million. I don't know. The PGA sold out too to him. I'm not watching the PGA now because there's maybe one recognizable name at the top of the leaderboard in a lot of these tournaments. I'm not suggesting you're wrong. Can't buy your way out of being an asshole. I don't think you can either. Hey, Brandon's like this. F those green jackets. Give me the 250. I'm taking it. I'm with you. Okay? And personally, I think Phil may have sold out a little more than that with all that gambling debts he has. I don't know. See, Tiger and Jack and Arnold, they're never going to sell their legacies because their legacies are the PGA. I mean, those are the most famous people in the history of the PGA. These other guys, why wouldn't you, if you're Patrick Reed, sell out a green jacket for $100 million? Why wouldn't you? You're never going to get that money on the tour anyway. Never going to get that. There's a lot of give me that money. Hey, man, Live is guaranteed. Yeah, LJ's right. The one thing that they do that they don't do, but they're starting to do more in the PGA. See, when you go, LJ's right. When you go overseas and you go to Japan and you're going to play in a tournament and you're Tiger, Tiger's got a appearance fee of $300 or $3 million, whether he wins the pitch or not. And when he goes overseas to Europe and plays, he's getting $3 million for an appearance fee for being in the tournament. Okay, and if he wins it, he gets more, obviously, for winning it, and he gets the purse. In America, the PGA wasn't doing that. They wouldn't give you appearance fees. Well, that's changed. Now they're starting to do more of that. And Live, when you show up to a tournament, you get an appearance fee. It's part of your contract you signed with the Saudis. And I get what's Sam's saying. I'm not a fan of the Saudis, but people singling out the PGA players and not other. Hey, and also, too, let's not forget, Slagger. Let's not forget UFC's involved in that, too. Hey, Brandy goes, who was the first black in the PGA? Was it Charlie? Charlie Stringer? Who was it? Charlie Sither? I forget, man. It was something like Charlie was the first black to play like on tour. Oh, Tiger knew him. I think he just passed away too. Yeah, Charlie Sifford. Kyle, is that right? Charlie Sifford was like the first black, I think he was, to play in the PGA Tour. And I think Tiger knew him very well. Okay, so let me continue this here. Final four are set. Bama, UConn. How about Bama making it to? Think about Bama sports program. Okay, and think about the UConn chicks and men's basketball programs. So, am I right? Alabama made it to the Final Four in college football, right? And now Bama basketball has made it to the Final Four. By the way, what I love about it is Bama had to play a pretty tough game against GCU, Dede School. And so if they go on and play for the national championship, they got knocked out by a Final Four team. Think about how good Bama's sports program is. And Bama's basketball was never good. But the football program elevated the basketball program because of the riches that Nick Saban brought into the athletic department and all the money that they brought in. It elevated the basketball program to where now they're a Final Four team. That's the power of college football. Xander went to Bama. I don't ever remember Alabama basketball being good. I don't ever remember them being good. Like, I can't remember them being a Sweet 16 team. I don't remember them being a factor in the Southeastern Conference. And all of a sudden now they're a Final Four. That's got a lot to do with the money that Saban brought into that program. Xander's like, the tide is coming, baby, in all areas. Roll MF and Tide. They're even good in gymnastics, too. They're good in track and field. Right? Do they have a good men's baseball? Probably. SEC's got great baseball. Hey, look at the women. Hey, think about something with UConn basketball here. So if they win the national title for a sixth time, they're going to have more national titles than Duke. And if the Chicks win, the UConn girls with Gino Auriemma, what's that, 13 or 14 for him? He has more national titles than John Wooden and Pat Summitt. When did Storrs become the mecca of basketball? Storrs, Connecticut. Hey, I'm a nutmegger. I love Connecticut. I loved I was raised in that state. And I loved I was raised in an Italian community down in the Cove. But Connecticut is a basketball haven, and it's more of a centerpiece in college basketball than Tobacco Road. That's crazy. That's crazy that UConn, men's and women, are in the Final Four. Whew. Dude, they got more. They got as many national championships as Indiana and Duke right now. I didn't know that. And if they win, only Kentucky and UCLA will have more. I think Jim Herrick won one and Wooden won 11. And I think Kentucky's got 8. Yale, am I right? I think that goes 12 for UCLA with Jim Herrick and 11 with Coach Wooden and 8 at Kentucky. Tubby, Pitino, and Rupp and Calipari have won national titles. Okay? I think those are the coaches who won national titles at Kentucky. Rupp, Tubby. Oh, wait. That other guy, too, won. That other guy won. There's another guy that won. Hall. Joe B. Hall. Okay, Joe B. Hall won. Rupp won. Tubby Smith won. Pitino won. And Calipari. There's 5 guys who have won national titles at Kentucky. Is that a Yale? Is that how it is? Rupp, Joe B. Hall, Tubby, Pitino, and Calipari. I think that's who's won. I think there's 5 coaches who have won national titles at Kentucky. And there's only 2 at UCLA. Jim Herrick and Coach Wooden. And at UConn, let's see, Calhoun, the other guy, and now Hurley. I think there's 3 that have won national titles. Rupp's biggest loss was against Texas Western. Hey, Kyle, I had the coach of that UTEP team back in the day before he passed away. And I had him on my radio show in San Francisco. I had him on. He was on my show, and he talked about that team. And guess where they played the national title? At College Park. They played that national championship game at College Park. And you know who was on that team? Pat Riley. Pat Riley was on that Kentucky team that got beat in that championship game. Pretty crazy. Was the Eagle collapse the worst you've seen in football? 304. Do you remember the year that the Steelers got out to 11-1 start and then finished like 11-7 or 11-6? What do you remember that year? They got out to they won like 10. A couple of years ago too. Arizona got out to a really strong start, and then they shit the bed in the back end of the regular season too. 2020 was that? Yeah, that was the Steelers, right? The Arizona also started out really strong, and then they lost a ton of games. Worst I've ever seen collapse. The way it went down was so bad. You know, the way it went down. The way it went down. Listen, I'm very critical of the Eagles, GI. But they do a lot of good things. Okay? They do it here. Biggest collapse I've seen was Broncos starting 8-0 and then lost the last 8 games of the year. GI, here's what the Eagles do great. Their contracts that Howie constructs are spectacular. They're just spectacular. He's just great at it. I'll tell you something else he does really well, I think. Finding players that underachieving in rosters at the bottom end of the roster. I think he does a pretty good job at that. His trades have not sucked. Like, look, the Robert Quinn thing, it wasn't high equity that they had to give up. But I got to admit, look at what they did with A.J. Brown. Darius Slay. Those are really great trades. That's a great trade. When Slay leaves, he may not have had a superstar season last year, but no one would ever say this about Darius Slay. His time in Philly was not productive. He was a really good Eagle and has been a really good Eagle. And you would make the comment that A.J. Brown may go down as the greatest wide receiver for his era and his time frame. Like, I don't think there's ever been a wide receiver in Philadelphia Eagle history with these 2 years in the history of the club. You could make the argument A.J. Brown's had the 2 greatest seasons in Eagle history at wide receiver. No one can come close to it. Quick was a really great player. I love Mike. Carmichael was more of a flanker. T.O. had 1 year. But A.J. has been really productive and great for 2 years. And, coming up right behind him is Devontae. You could make the argument that's the greatest wide receiver draft pick. Think about that, what they have at their offense right now. You arguably have the greatest wide receiver draft pick in Eagle history with his numbers as the number 2 guy. I don't think he gets enough credit for that. To show you his greatness, he's doing all of that. Am I right when I say this? Devontae Smith is doing all of the things that he's doing, not as the number 1. He has numbers that teams would covet being their number 1 wideout. Like, does Baltimore have a wide receiver as good as your number 2? Probably not. Does the Jets have a better wideout than Devontae? Do the Packers? do the Carolina Panthers. Hey, Dan, who would you rather lose, AJ or Hassan? I'd rather lose Hassan. Because AJ's a first round. If you start talking moving AJ, we're talking big draft picks here. And it's a more coveted position. I'm not getting rid of that guy just for, hey, by the way, I think pretty soon it's time to start thinking about the money and him. But that guy, I'm not just going to hand him over. But boy, I'll tell you what, after watching this Reddick deal, they gave Hassan Reddick away. Would they give A.J. Brown away? I sure hope not. Yale goes like this. Devontae may want to wait. If he produces, Howie will extend him midseason. Yale, why would I do that? If I'm out there and I'm having a better season than AJ, say AJ goes, hey, how about this, Yale? What if AJ Brown goes down for an extended period of time? And all of a sudden, Devontae has to be the number one, and he's on pace for 1,600 yards. Why in the world would I want to sign an extension and not wait until getting to the offseason where I could have more leverage against the Eagles? And you know that as soon as he became a free agent, you could you'd be making potentially Justin Jefferson money. I mean, if I'm on pace for 1,500 yards, AJ goes down, Hurts is having an incredible year, Kellen Moore's doing great things, and all of a sudden you're starting to go like this. We can now officially move off of AJ Brown. Next draft, we'll draft a wide out to cover for AJ, and Devontae's our guy. If you're him, why would I sign a contract that's not anything close to Justin Jefferson? He could get $30 million in the offseason. Ultra goes, Jefferson's holding up the wide receiver market. Can I tell you why? My opinion? I think Jefferson wants to see who the Vikings are going to have in Minneapolis as a quarterback. Why would he stay there and sign a contract? For who? Some sort of like third team guy off of a roster? Why would he stay there? He has no chance. Justin Jefferson, as of right now, has no chance to play in the playoffs consistently and has no chance to win a Super Bowl in Minneapolis. Why would he stay there when he can make the same money anywhere? Why would he? Does it matter if they pay him $30 per year? Maybe not. Yeah, but Xander, he's going to get paid $30 no matter where he is. Minneapolis, Las Vegas. That guy is not going to be like this. Well, Minneapolis is going to be the team and the only team that give him 30. Shit, man. I think 32 teams would line up and give that guy $30 million. He's one of the top 4 players in the sport at any position. You're looking, this guy, how many games did he play in last year? Yale goes, he needs a quarterback. Does he really? Who threw him those passes last year? Dobbs? How many games did he need last year to get 1,100 yards? What was it, 8? So you're telling me if he plays a full season, he has 2,200 yards receiving. That guy's going to make $30 million. He's going to make $30 million. That's a special ball player. Okay. I would make this, I would tell you this. Best players in the sport right now that Donald's out, Jefferson, Mahomes, McCaffrey, Garrett, Watt, Williams, Trent. Those are your best players in the game. Maybe Tyreek Hill. Maybe. That was the worst draft decision Howie made by drafting Rager over Jefferson. It matches the Cowboys taking Taco over TJ. Ultra, again, of course, that's a horrible decision. But here, always remember this. A lot of teams miss on guys. And they make mistakes in the draft. The problem always, my issue is that I've said this numerous times. Like A.J. Brown, you're going to have to pay $60 million over the next 3 years for him. Or to this point, you would have paid $60 million. And if you had a hit at wide receiver, you would have paid $6 million. You would have paid $6 million versus $60 million. You think you could have built your defense? You could make the argument that the Jalen Reagor failure and the paying of A.J. Brown has affected your money that you spend on defense, because that $60 million could have been spread out to other positions on your defense. Remember that. I say the signing of A.J. Brown and the trade of A.J. Brown has affected your defense, because those cap hits aren't as friendly as, say, the Jalen Hurts cap hit is. Those cap hits actually hurt what AJ costs against your cap. And so when you miss that $60 million of equity you would have got on a rookie deal with $6 million has affected the way you spend money on that other side of the ball. So it's not just the fact that you missed the player. It's also the fact that you missed with the money. All right. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and certainly the easiest when you're watching the NBA. And the NBA playoffs are almost here, and you can win money making picks. What are you waiting for? Sign up on UnderdogFantasy.com and use the promo code WIN. An Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN. Get ready for the NBA and get ready for the NBA playoffs. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN.
Philadelphia fans, were cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Mike Little was a union construction worker who was badly injured when he suffered a horrific fall because of someone's negligence. His life would change forever.
It was just a real downward spiral with everything. Everything you do, and you're sitting home by yourself all day. You can't go out because you can't drive, you can't walk well. It was just a horrible situation.
Call Brian Fritz at the Fritz & Beyond Cooley Law Firm at 215-548-2222.
EAGLES. Eagles.
I think I've shown you this picture before, Jimmy and Buddy at our practice. This Coach Buddy Ryan at our practice explaining, and he's talking to me and Jerome there, and they took this picture. And this was Buddy's first year as head coach with the Eagles. And he's down there talking. That was absolutely insane. Absolutely insane time. He'd come down there and just start talking to us. Oh, I haven't seen this. Here's a picture of me and Jerome. All of us together. Those Maniac Canes. Me and Jerome. Stubbs. Bill Hawkins. All first and second rounders. That was a great time. Here's the Cadillac I got from Norman or the vet I got from Norman Brayman. The cat. Ugh, I know some of you don't want to see this, but every year they send me. You know why there's purple flowers on Jerome's tombstone? Every year. This year actually. See, look, he's got the U there and the eagle in an eagle symbol down there in the corner. You know why? That's Hernando County. That's his high school. His high school comes by every year on his birthday and puts the flowers on his grave. Yeah, hilarious. Hilarious guy, man. Ugh. A guy sent me this picture. After you guys won the Super Bowl, some psychotic Eagle fan, Yale, sent me this one. Super Bowl Eagles. I'm like, dude, he'd be happy about that. He got an Eagle jersey or shirt and went over to Jerome, took this picture and sent it to me. You Eagle fans are psychotic, but cool. Right? Hey, yeah, right? And see, and look at here. Huh? We go back and forth, right? Do we or do we not? Flexing. I'm closer to you guys than you think. Some of you guys want to try to make me outsider, but not really. Okay? Not really that outside as you think. Sells the best part of it happened on his birthday. I know, Kyle. You know how many calls I got? He goes, hey, they won it on Jerome's birthday. They won it on his birthday. Okay? Hey, I go, I know they did. I know they did. Twiz. Absolutely love you guys, man. Way to kick off this Monday on a Easter Monday after a fantastic day. Hey, I'm watching Iowa LSU tonight. I won't lie to you. I'm going to be sitting there watching this thing. Might even have a couple ribs ready to rock and roll here with this thing here, man, and watch it. And I can't wait. So much going on in the world of sports, too. We're going to talk a little more draft. We're getting closer and closer. Believe it or not, we're like 24 days out from the draft. So we'll start talking that. Guys, I really appreciate it. Guys, awesome. Xander, Big Joe, thank you very much. 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we'll see you on the flip side.